Looks like we just started, but we're waiting to see it come through. Hoo hoo hoo.
I got a YouTube notification. Got a Facebook notification.
Oh, it went right to live on Facebook? Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, but let me check.
That
Make
is
sure.
good.
Yep, SketchUp is now live. And the numbers are climbing. Oh.
Hi, dear. Have you seen that?
Oh, yep.
Can you read that? Is it too
Oh, it looks good.
cool? Okay.
Are we getting there? Yeah, everything's showing up. Sweet.
Sending data. Hello, Barbara from Canada.
Whoa. Adam, this video will be available in its entirety wherever you are watching it. So it'll live on YouTube forever and ever and ever. It'll stay in our Facebook stream for as long as it's in our Facebook stream, and it'll be on Twitch for about 2 weeks. So we can't send it to you, but you can come get it from us. All right, how's hello AJ, hello Zai. That's a cool name. Adam, hello again. Yave Brooks, Giant Lee, just using SketchUp now. That's awesome. That's good. Juan, hi. Adam, huh? Jen Koo, hey, what's up? Just getting ready to stream, doing this thing. I'm looking forward to this too, AJ. Austria, that's new. I don't know if we've had a hello from Austria yet. That's cool. Vignesh, you can know what's going to happen here. This is our weekly live stream, Friday afternoons, and I'm going to design a deck in SketchUp. So I'm going to go in with your help, design a beautiful looking deck, get a report on the materials, that sort of thing. So it's going to be a good time. Hi from India. Hi, Surya. Voran's girl, hi over on Twitch. And Adnan, you are welcome for this. My day is going well so far. It's been a busy day. This is actually the second project we've had to work on in this room, so we've been in here for a while. Seattle. All right, calling from the coast. Yes, let's create, Bruce. I agree. Madrid. Welcome, Juan. Salute, Red. Hope everything's going well for you guys out there. You may notice, I should just point this out as we're going to give it just another couple minutes before we get rolling, of course, as we normally do. But I would like to draw your attention right now, not to Mark. Mark's actually not really there. That's a figment of your imagination. But our nice new green screen. Previously, some of you guys may have seen we were actually working with a white screen where we had to use software to go in and kind of tweak the white balances so that white disappeared, which was tough because, you know, when you put lights on things, they tend to turn white. And most of my t-shirts have white writing of some sort on it, so I would turn invisible or my coffee cup would turn invisible, so we're excited. This is our first green screen stream.
It's the world's first green stream.
Oh, yeah, that one. Green screen stream. Woo! I win.
Yay.
All right.
Okay.
Jamaica. Rajay. JJ. How's Jamaica right now? Sounds nice. All right, we're going to start in just literally a minute. We're going to give people till noon, which is what we said is our start time. So as soon as that happens, we will go. It's not, our restream is not showing Facebook.
Oh, that's weird. Mine is.
So, odd. Wow. All right, what else we got here? Jamaica, Italy, Nashville, Mexico, and apparently it's rainy in Jamaica. So that's a bummer. Or cool. I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with rain. People complain about rainy weather, but that's good. We actually don't get much rain here. Colorado, for those of you who don't know, Colorado is actually a desert. So we have very little rainfall. All right, we're just fine-tuning a couple of knobs right now, and we'll get running. Oh, there we go. That one worked. So we're doing some things new. Here, do you mind dragging it down just a little bit there? Otherwise, that's going to distract me. Thanks, man. All right, so we're, new stream, or new screen. Oh, come on, man. Whew. They're not doing Steam in this green screen stream.
This was a steam room? Oh, baby. It's going to get steamy, but it's going to get SketchUp steamy.
All right. So we're going to do some stuff now. First stuff we're going to do is not check my email. We're going to instead... We're going to close this out. You guys may have noticed, if you're new, give us one moment, okay? You can still hang out, but just give me a sec. So we started... 5 weeks ago on one of our live streams, went in and drew this here bus. We created this live, and then we threw it out to you guys and said, take this bus and make it the best bus ever, whatever that means to you. So we had some awesome entries. We had just a couple that I want to call out that were really cool. This was the, it's called the camping bus, but it's got treads on it. It's shiny green, luggage rack on top. Awesome, fun one. Later dudes and best bus ever up here. The book bus were the first ones that came in. Very cool, very fun. I was partial to this four-wheeling off-road bus. That was pretty cool. And then of course this time and alternate reality traveling bus was good. But we can only have one winner. And the winner of this competition was not Matt. It was instead the Dragon Bus. Whoa, this is where this is going, guys. The Dragon Best Bus Ever.
And a well-deserved win.
So this was, honestly, we didn't get anywhere. They were not good entries. Everybody submitted something. It was good, well done, great job. You started with pretty much blank. It was a white chunk of geometry, and we had some awesome textures on there. Some people put backgrounds in. It was really cool. But the thing that tipped it over for the Dragon Bus was it was literally transformed. The other ones had stuff added on and geometry moved around, but this one just kind of won the day with the radical transformation that bus underwent.
It was more than meets the eye.
That's right. It's not your grandpa's school bus. And there's a thing over here. This is just a couple Easter eggs. Over here we have this, this drone fighter thing. Yeah, it must be a drone. There's nobody in the pilot seat. With a SketchUp logo on top, firing missiles at the Dragon Bus.
Nice.
And this is a little fun thing here. They're at a school, which is the SketchUp College at the University of YouTube. So,
nice.
So
I
yes.
hope one day to get an honorary doctorate from there.
You keep posting videos, it'll happen, man.
That's right. It's all about building an audience.
Brian S., if you're on, give a shout out so we can congratulate you. You did it. You made it. Your Dragon Bus won the day. So, congratulations, Brian. All right. Now, on to today's effort. So, what we're going to do is we are going to create a deck.
And we are also going to try to fix your face.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
kind of... Speaking of green screen, you got
dear.
some grass coming through your face there.
That's a little embarrassing.
That's not good.
Matt will work on that.
Yeah.
If I disappear for a second, it's because we're messing with the camera. Don't get scared. Constantine, Michigan. Sorry, a couple more call outs. Jacksonville, Florida. Hi, Steve. Lexington, Kentucky. Somebody else from India. I think that's the second person we saw from India. That's awesome. From the Pacific Northwest. Isn't that a region? Isn't that just saying like
Northeast.
westerny, or is that a term that's used for a specific location?
The PNW? That's what they call it.
Johnny Willoughby is asking about rotating or moving objects in SketchUp. I would recommend, if you're at the beginner, going to our website, going to the Learn tab, and taking a look at what we call SketchUp Campus. It has online tutorials that walk you through all kinds of stuff. And it's all guided, it's all self-paced. You can go through as quick or as slowly as you want, but it'll cover all the basics. So if you have issues with moving or rotating, that's definitely the best place to go. Once you get through with that, hop on over to YouTube and watch our videos to take your education to the next level. Hi from Maryland, Jason. Nigeria, Jerry, that's awesome. I love this. Kolkata, India. All right, Surya, we will try to pass that note along. More Iraq. Steve says yay, so that's good. Florida, Southern Athena, Montreal, Canada, Pacific Northwest counts as Washington.
Idaho.
Idaho, thank you. Or Oregon.
He
saw that look on my face of, oh no, letters I don't know what they mean. And one last hello from South Africa. Shout outs to all the countries that are represented. We're like a SketchUp UN here. We're from everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So let's just hop in here, shall we?
We shall.
We shall. Let's shall. Okay, so this right here is actually the back of my house. So I did model my house in SketchUp. The roof doesn't actually cantilever like that. I deleted some stuff out of here to just, all I really need is the back of the house, but which is something you do when you have SketchUp and you have a house, or you're getting a house. When you have the plans, you model it, because that's a thing. That's what we do here. That's not here in the building, but here, us. You, me, Matt, us. We model things.
The full team together. If you move really fast, I think you get the
green Hulk, yeah. Okay, focus. Let me drink some coffee. That'll help with that.
Yeah. It's known to help with focus. Caffeine.
That's right. All right, so we're gonna hop right in now. I don't know I have a general idea of what I want to model here, but I want to get you guys' input. What I do want to do is I'm gonna scoot Mark over here. You can go stand on the side of the house. What I want to do here is outside this sliding door, I want to put a deck right here. I don't have a whole lot of specific plans yet, and that's where I'm kind of hoping maybe you guys give me some input. We'll see, a couple hours of modeling, see what it looks like. We'll start with something pretty simple and we'll add on to it. I do want to use Generate Report to keep track of my materials as I put them in there. I have had questions already about using something like Estimator or Cut List or something like that, and those are great extensions. I think they have huge value, and if this is something you're doing commercially, then they're absolutely worth checking out. I'm not seasoned enough in using them to make them look good, and we've already done enough time on our live sessions where Aaron kind of muddles his way through an extension, so I'm not going to subject you guys to that today. Instead, we'll use Generate Report to just generate a cut list and price list. We'll keep it pretty simple. So for what we're doing here too, I mean, honestly, with my deck, we're going to have 3 or 4 different sizes of lumber, maybe a little bit of hardware, concrete, and that's going to be about it. So I'm not really going to stress out too much about, a real complicated report or anything like that. This is not a commercial deck building guy. This is a weekend framer guy, me, designing something on this model and with enough information that I could go and put it together myself. That's the goal. So we'll build off of that.
Cool.
All right. Thank you, Andy. Andy gave us a little praise there. Always appreciate it.
Yes, and he said, "Hey, Aaron and Matt, no offense. None taken, my good man."
Sometimes Matt offends, so. Matt,
I've been
Matt, no
known
offense.
to offense.
Mm.
Speaking of offense, are you going to...
Green enough.
Oh, no.
No, it's not disappearing. It's the right shade. It's not.
Hmm.
Right. Sorry, I'm playing with the
Interesting.
green screen. Pipe it.
Pipette and burette. This requires a lot of time and money. That's correct. But today, we're going to build the deck virtually before we build it in reality. Is that right?
Okay.
Marconi, hello.
All right, I'm going to hop in here and we're just going to get started. All right, so what I'd like to do is I'm going to bring it right off the face of the house. So I'm going to come right from here. And this is a group right now. My house and yard, everything is grouped. And I could even go so far as to right click and say lock that group. That's going to prevent me from accidentally grabbing the house and moving it when I'm trying to move a board or something like that. But I can still come in here and use all the points, everything as reference here. So that's good. The other thing I'll point out is I do have... Nope, still the wrong window. I have... There we go. HomeDepot.com open. So if I do
handy.
need to check material sizes or what I can get a hold of, I can come in here if I don't know. Like I said, we're going to stay with, it's going to be fairly basic to begin with. I'm not going to use proprietary materials, but we'll try to keep it kind of simple.
Keep off the sound effects. You're in luck. I don't have any sound effects prepared, but maybe during the break I'll try to rustle some up just for you.
What does a deck sound like?
Knocking on wood.
That could work.
That's a sound effect. Let's see. Gamborg is back from
Hey.
Denmark. Missed a few of the last streams, but excited to be back.
Yeah, I haven't seen you for a while, Gamborg. Welcome.
Glad to have you.
Watching via Twitch.
It is not blasphemous to be using any other modeling software. You can use whatever you want, of course. We're going to use SketchUp here, but
You do your thing.
you do you.
Yeah. We actually, and that's a question we get a lot is, I have to use this, I have to use this. Never hang your head in shame. Use what you got to use. Do your thing.
Yeah.
We agree with a collaborative workflow, so we don't ever put people down for what they use.
Yeah. Also, lock everything always. Tough to model if everything's locked.
That's true. Generally speaking, there's some stuff you're going to need unlocked, but yeah, any reference sections of the model that you don't want to move around on accident, it's good to. Especially, here's the biggest spot that it bites me, you guys, is when I'm in like this and I'm working on something where I can't see the rest of the model and I don't notice if I do something like move and slide it over a foot, and I don't catch that happening because I don't see the rest of the model. I'm in tight. Obviously out here, if I was to click on it and drag it this way 10 feet, I'd pick up on that. So if I am working inside a model, especially on the inside, so if I was coming inside here and I wanted to go model something inside the house, that's especially where I want to make sure I lock it, because I can't see what I'm doing, especially if I'm like say I have this view. I got no reference at all. So unless I move it over so far that the wall comes and hits me in the head as I move it across, I have no reference that I'm actually moving anything. So if you're inside of a model working, then that's where you definitely want to get locking involved. And another thing that comes up here, so I am in select right now. I do have the group selected. Anytime as soon as I pick another tool, it's going to go away. A lot of people get hung up on having this highlighted like that. Not a big deal. All right, so we're going to hop in. I'm going to start by putting a pretty simple deck. We're going to go we're going to work off of an 18-foot board. So I'm going to put a ledger board, a piece of board up against the side of the house. We're going to say I'll say it's 16 feet. We'll start there. Like I said, we're going to start and we're going to make some adjustments. That's part of the fun of what we're doing here.
Yay, fun.
Yeah, fun is great. So I'm just going to pick this middle point and draw a line this way. I said 16 feet total, so I'm going to go 8 feet. I'm going to say for my structural members, it's not a huge span, but we're building Colorado. I'm going to say that I'm going to use 2x10s. No, well, let's go 2x8s. So I'm going to go 7.25 because a 2x8 is not 2 inches by 8 inches. It's 1.5 inches by 7.25 course. I'm going to bring that back this way, 16 feet. Come back up. I'm going to just use, rather than typing 7.25, I'm just going to use inferencing. It's going to snap to my 7.25 from the line I just drew, and then draw it all the way back to where I started. And that gives me a surface. I'm getting a little bit of Z fighting here because I have those two planes. You guys ever see this where the materials flicker? What's happening is the two materials are arguing. So that yellowy siding is fighting with that new face I just created, and both of them want to be in front of each other. So as SketchUp draws it to the screen, it's drawing one then the other back and forth in front because they occupy the same space. It happens. It's not a bad thing. It's just a notification. I use it as a notification to let me know I have two pieces in front of each other. So not a big deal because I'm going to immediately make this into a 3D piece. I'm going to use push-pull and just pull it out at 1.5 inches. At this point, right now, I have my first piece. As I create these pieces, I don't actually need that break there. As I create these pieces, I'm going to triple click, right click, and I'm going to make this a component. And I'm going to call this my 2x8 board. I'm not going to specify exactly what material it is or anything like that because I haven't picked that out yet. You could go with more definition. So if I knew this was going to be redwood or cedar or pressure treated material, I could actually call that out either in the definition or the description.
Also, Mike was the first one to say, save. Don't forget to save your model.
I don't know how I'm going to model without you, a couple hundred people looking over my shoulder. Oh, it was terrible. I tried to draw a model by myself today and I didn't do anything right. Let's save. Oh, wait, I'm in the middle of making, let's go file and save.
Cecil asking how many cards your deck has. Pretty good.
Cards my deck has?
About right around 52 usually for standard.
Got me. I'm gullible today. You guys got me.
Let's see. You need to lower the ledger board to allow for the height of the decking.
Absolutely. That will happen. I was using this point because this is what I had as a point of reference.
And also Greg asked if you can do it in metric. Maybe you can do a metric one and imperial or whatever one at the same time.
Not so much. I was actually just talking with somebody. We had a new hire from Africa who was spending some time with us, spinning up, that kind of thing, Kwaku. And we spent some time talking to him because I've done some design work, actually some training back before SketchUp in Canada. And everything they did was metric. And I gotta say, metric is so easy to use because everything is multiples of 10. It's so simple to add, subtract everything. Imperial, you got, let's take this thing called a foot and we'll chop it into 12 even increments called inches. And then we'll take each inch and we'll divide it into, how about 16ths? Or for some groups, let's go to 30 seconds. And it's rough, guys. So if you don't use imperial units, I feel like trying to follow along is rough. The problem is my brain doesn't know metric units well enough to know how big is 100 millimeters. So I don't have a frame of reference because I've been designing in imperial units for like 25 years. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So I get where you're coming from. You guys should know SketchUp will operate in whatever units you want. You can go to preferences anytime and switch it.
You could do this in metric is what you're saying. You could.
One could.
Yeah.
One could do this. Not necessarily this one, but one. Yes. So, yeah, so I'm sorry. So backing up a step, I was going in to make this a component. This is my 2x8 board. Actually, we'll call it 2x8 16-foot board. And then just for fun, I'm going to come over here and
Yeah.
redwood 2x8. I'm
Redwood
going to throw a price
soda.
in here, and this is just a kind of a reference number.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
That's
interrupt you there, but redwood, of course, tall trees. Just wanted to get that in there. Very important comment by me.
Redwood big.
They carve like cars can drive through them. They make tunnels through them and stuff like that. So, just in case you didn't know.
Just throw some knowledge out there in case you didn't want to know. All right, so one thing I'm noticing right here is I'm not getting 2x8s in 16 footers, but 8-foot pieces, which is cool. This is actually, because one of the things that I want to do as I'm designing this is design from the materials I can actually get a hold of. So that's good to know that I would need to go with 8-footers. Fortunately, we have a way we can fix that.
How much do they pay us if we're going to use redwood for the deck? Hey, luckily this is a virtual deck, so we could build it out of like platinum if we wanted to, you know.
All right, here we go. Here's a pressure treated, less expensive, 12 foot. Still not 16. Oh, here we go. 2x6 pressure treated. New. Here we go. 16 foot right there. Just got to read the UI. All right, so we're going to say that costs $18.88. I'm going to go to price right here and type in $18.88. And I'm going to try to throw a number into each of these pieces as we go. There we go. All right. And now I got to come out and bring it out this way. I'm going to say that I want to, my initial deck, we're going to make 10 feet wide. So I'm going to come in here right now. I'm going to put a rectangle. Actually, I'm going to draw a line because that's what I do. So 1.5, drop that straight down. So I'm just drawing a rectangle right on top of that existing piece. And I'm going to use push-pull to pull this 10 foot even. So one of the nice things about making this deck from scratch, and I have a big open yard to deal with, is I can use just full cut lengths. I don't have to go in and say, well, this one's going to have to be 8 foot, 8.5 inches, anything like that. I can, for the time being, we're imaginary designing, I can just pull this out as a full-size 10-footer and say that's how wide I want my deck to be. All right, so I'm going to triple click that, make a new component, and this is my 2x8 10-foot board. Now let's see what that costs. $11.77. I like to repeat numbers.
Double 1, double 7. In England, they say like double like that. They don't say 11.77. I can't remember. I saw some
double 11, double 7,
or double 1, double 7.
Can I get a fact check? Who's in England?
Or maybe it's more like phone numbers and stuff, or addresses. People would say, I'm at double 8, double 5, or something like that. Another fact by me.
You just try to not learn something here.
Yeah, I'm gonna force some kind of knowledge down your
like it or don't
down your brains.
All right. So at this point, I know what I'm going to need is, well, here, I can actually do this too. I'm going to grab this piece right here, and I'm going to copy it and stick it down here. That's what's going to close up the end of my deck. And now I need to put these boards across that 16-foot span. So a question now comes up of spacing. So if I'm going to grab it with move, hit option, I'm going to start to pull it this way. Obviously, this is going to come down to actual design, like what's the on-center spacing I need. Some of it depends on decking materials. If I'm using a thinner materials, a composite, something like that, I need to go a little bit tighter. If I'm actually using 2x materials, I might be able to get away with a little wider. I'm going to say I want a nice solid deck, so I'm going to go 16 inches on center. So I'm going to offset this first board 16. And then without going to any other command, I'm just going to type times 10. Oop, almost got me there. How about times 13? That works. Extras I can delete. All right, nice. So that means I actually have 12 10-foot pieces there for my deck. So I grab this piece and scoot that in like that.
Oh, also somebody asked you about your 3D mouse. It's in the YouTube description, the link to it, but it's a Space Mouse Enterprise by 3D Connection.
Yep. Yeah. So there's a link. Just go ahead and head on over there. Oh yeah. Jerry said usually phone numbers, stuff like that with measurements. Usually best to call them out as whole figures to prevent double communication, miscommunication.
But wouldn't a miscommunication thing go along with a phone number too? Like, I know you don't want to get a deck measurement wrong, but you also don't want to get a phone number wrong. Like, why would you say double? It throws me off. It's like you're saying numbers and then you say double, and then it's like, that's not a number. You know what I mean? You just tell me 8-8. Don't tell me 8-8. That's to me.
So Matt's got some opinions, guys.
Very opinionated about the double. If I have to die on one hill, it's this one.
Command S.
Nice.
All right. So, all right. Yes, I know the top of my structural members are flush with my door. I'm going to push them down. Don't you worry. You guys, I hear you. I appreciate the backup. I got this. All right.
Looks like it's floating off the ground. How are you going to do that?
It is not. Oh, man. Everybody just chill. All right. Yeah, so this is looking good so far. Obviously, it's not supported. This side right here, this will probably get put into the side of the house. This section down here, I'm going to have to support. This is actually a 10-foot span, which may be a little much, so I'll probably put an intermediate support here too. So probably put some things in here. And some of the stuff, I got to let you guys know, I haven't actually run numbers to design anything on here. A lot of this I'm doing for the sake of imparting some wisdom. So we're going to copy some stuff. That sort of thing. All right. Right now, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take this, and because it's been mentioned so many times already, I'm just going to go ahead and grab it all. And again, everything back here is locked, so I can actually do a group select and not worry about selecting anything else. And I can drop it straight down. I'm going to drop it down enough to go under the door to allow for my 1.5" material plus a small gap, because I actually don't want this to be even flush up against there, because I do want, water's going to happen, so I do want to push it down. So I'm going to just drop it down 2 inches right now. And then that's going to give me my space there, and I can come in and throw my decking materials on top. Again, this thing, everything we're talking about is not to be taken as gospel for how you should go make a deck. This is more, how do you use SketchUp to enable you to go make the deck you want to make. That's what we're looking for here. So yeah, if you do have to get designs done or you have members to design size like that, please do that. Don't do anything based on the stuff that I say. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to put some decking down, some members here, and this is where this portion can change a lot depending on what you're actually going to use. If you're going to use a composite like Trex decking or some board like that, you end up with a much smaller, narrower board. You can actually butt them up closer because they don't swell as much. I'm going to actually put wood down because I would like, that was an unintentional pun.
Nice.
I would like, if possible, to actually do redwood on here, but you know, we'll see what this price comes out to. So I'm going to throw some 2x6s on here. So I'm going to come up 1.5. I'm going to come this way 5.5 because that's how big a 2x6 is. I don't know. They didn't call me on the day they did that, guys, so I can't take responsibility for that. All right, and what would be great is to then just take that all the way across to here. But 16 foot is a long piece of lumber, which means it's an expensive piece of lumber, and I don't know how easily I can get a hold of a 16-foot piece of 2x6. So we're gonna hop back over here. We're gonna go look at redwood 2x6 and see what we got. So here's a 2x6 8 foot.
Oh my God, you can get a Mendocino?
Can you believe it?
Mendocino Forest Products? Some of the best in
It's
the biz.
in stock at the local. Oh boy, we're doing it. All right. So here's a couple things I can do right now. In here, look at a couple different things. So we do have some 16-foot 2x6s, which are $30 a piece. If I was to go to 8-footers, that would mean 2, per. It would drop to $11. So to cover one run, end to end, would be $23 versus $30. So this is where I can start playing around with numbers a little bit and optimize my design. Are you that guy, Mark? That is not code. Which piece? I'm just curious. I'm sure I've broken. Well, this isn't even supported yet. I'm 16 on center. My step, my gap right here. Is that what you're talking about?
Also, I didn't say anything like a couple minutes ago, but Mark, I could not hold it in laughing at your comment. Of course, the deck was built up to the thing, and everyone's like, "You got to move it down. You got to move it down." And then he said, "I figured you were gonna build. I figured you were gonna build the deck higher than the door, so you trip and fall flat on your face carrying your hamburgers out to your grill."
No, what I prefer to do is clean the slider really well so you can't see it. That's more fun. That's just right on the face.
I saw a guy walk into a glass door on Wednesday this week.
Wow, big week.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so while Mark updates us on our code violations thus far, we'll hop in here and figure out what we're going to do with this thing. So this is the fun part of SketchUp. This is where I get to design in the computer rather than having material sitting in my backyard and having to cut it up. And here's the thing about wood. You can cut it shorter, but it's really hard to cut longer than what you already have.
You gotta replant it.
Fortunately, SketchUp, it's pretty darn easy. So if I design something, don't like the look of it, it's pretty easy to come back and make a change afterwards. So we know that we can. Let's just go ahead. So Andy's asking about having planks that sit together. Again, yeah, if we were to do something like composite decking, we could actually have pieces that tongue and groove together or actually have gaps in between. That's absolutely out there. I said, I'm not planning on using that in this deck. We're just going to use rectangular shapes. But yes, that is an option. All right, so just for fun, I'm going to grab this one right here. I'm going to make a component, and I'm going to call it redwood, because that is kind of specific to what we're looking at. 2x6.
You wrote one.
16 foot.
You wrote one.
1x6. 2x6. And well, it's just to keep this in the same format as the others, I'll put redwood at the end. All right, and that was $30 and something. $30.27. So I'll put that in here. All right. Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to move it over. Now, here's something to consider. This is actual. I don't want to actually butt this up against it. I do need a space for water to run and for the wood to swell. So I do have to make this bigger. I have to make my spacing bigger than 5.5 inches. There's some discrepancy on how much of a gap you should put in there: 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, 16th inch, 1/2 inch. Well, 1/2 inch would be a lot, but depending where you're at, what you're using, that's possible. I'm going to go with a nice 1/4 inch gap. So rather than offsetting it 5.5 inches, I'm going to offset it 5.75. And that's going to give me a 1/4 inch gap right there. Because I'm using real wood rather than a composite, it is going to swell and shrink depending on how dry it is, or wet. All right, so that has set my spacing. I set my first spacing, and now all I have to do is type X, 15.
Whoa!
I don't know what I just did.
Did you do something in the middle of that?
Apparently, I did
operation?
something between. All right, let's bag it up. All right, I'm gonna grab this guy again. I don't know. I honestly don't know what I did. I'm gonna offset it straight over 5.75. Enter. X15. Enter. Obviously, I clicked on something. All right, 15 is not enough. X20. 21 is going to take me just over the edge. All right, again, right now, what I could do at this point, what I'm going to do, let's rephrase. What I'm going to do right now is take that, just this. I know there's no supports underneath here. I know it's floating. We haven't dug any post holes. Nothing's happened yet. But right now, before I go any further, I just want to see what the impact of the 16-foot redwood pieces would be versus if I was to buy smaller pieces and have breaks. Obviously, there's some cases where I don't care about price. I just want it to look nice, and that's something that may weigh in. You may not really care how much it costs. That's cool. Good for you. Sorry if that came out bitter. All right, so I'm going to go up here to File, and I'm just going to go to Generate Report. I mentioned this before. People have asked about using Estimator or something like that, in case you weren't here for that. Estimator's great, Cut List. I'm trying to remember the other one from MindSight. There's a lot of great Quantifier, great tools out there. I'm not versed enough with them to make them look good. Part of me wanted to spend this week trying to learn one, and I just unfortunately didn't have a chance. So what we're going to do right now is we are going to make a brand new report in Generate Report. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to call this, I'm just going to call this my materials list. Actually, we'll call this a price list because we're going to have prices on here. And I'm going to edit it. All right, when I come in here, there's a couple things. I'm just going to set up, this would be a real simple report, you guys, because like I said, I don't need to go real deep into tracking additional information. Really, the only thing I want is quantities and price. I want the quantities because sooner or later I'm going to have to go to Home Depot and pick this material up. I want price because, like right now, I want to find out what the most effective way to build the deck is. So what I want to put in here is my definition name. So all the information that it has in stock for any of the components in my model is listed right here. This includes all the default ones, so I have stuff in there like description name, what layer it's on, the XYZ value, and then some other stuff like XYZ location, and then those values that are in the component that I filled out when I created them, price, size, status, URL. All that information's in there. If you create dynamic components and go in and create your own values, they'll show up here too. So if there's something else you want to keep track of, like who you buy something from. I'm going to buy some of this from Lowe's and some of it's going to come from Home Depot. You could actually create a value in there to track that too if you wanted. For that matter, these other values, URL, status, and size, can be used however you want also. So if you wanted to say status is actually going to be, excuse me, what store you're buying from, you could fill that in as you create the components. But for me, the things I'm really concerned with are what they are. I'm not really concerned about the sizes or the lengths or anything because I put those values in the name. So my definition name actually includes the size. So I don't have to worry about anything else. The quantity, and then I also want the price. So I'm going to add price to my report attribute. I don't have any units, so this information, my units, isn't going to be a big deal because it's literally going to be a list of part numbers, prices, and quantities. I do have options over here. Generally speaking, I'm going to try to go with current selection because as I'm going through here, I'm going to pick and say, tell me how much this costs. So I'm going to leave current selection turned on. And then nesting levels isn't going to be too much of an issue for this particular job because everything I'm going to do is on the outside. Nesting levels says, I have a group and a group and a group and a group, and I want everything that's on that third level deep. I want those parts. So if I had my entire yard, the whole model was one group, and then inside that, the deck was in a separate subgroup, and then inside of that was where all my pieces were, then I'd say, give me nesting level 3. In this case, I just want everything. So if I hit run report right now, nothing shows up. Why does nothing shows up? Because I never actually selected anything. So I'm going to save that price list report. I'm going to come in here and select everything. And then I'm going to go to generate report and run that exact report. Let's see what happens. All right, with that, it's telling me I have 22 redwood boards at 30.27 each. And then I have my quantity and I have my price. All right, let's look at changing some things here. Oh, that's actually not really what I was thinking. Yeah, so what I can't really get to here is that final price I was just thinking about. Oh, there we go. That's just in a different spot. So right now, I can come in here to my price. Price times quantity, no, so total there. Except, but then I think I have to group by. I'm a little rusty. I totally gotta acknowledge. Wait, wasn't this what I didn't want to do?
Well, this just says quant. I mean, I think originally you had component name or whatever it's called.
Oh, that's
on the
right.
top group by definition name and the group by, and then price and quantity were in the attributes.
Right.
I
So
mean, that's how you were at first. I don't know if that's what you want.
No, you're
now,
right.
but-
That's sometimes I start doing stuff and then, you know. If I struggle braining today, please forgive me. Yeah, my stuff's running a little slower than it should. Whew! Good thing I had offered to show you how to do that and then forgot how to do that. Okay, so we want to group it by the definition name. So the definition name is the material, like we already established. And then for price, rather than have the list price of one piece, I did go into the settings of the price and say, give me the subtotal, which will then, if I run the report, tell me right now my 16-foot boards comes out to $665. All right.
Dangerously close to 666.
Ooh, didn't
But
get
not
there.
quite.
Didn't get there. All right. So that's what I know right now. So here's where I could possibly go through and make some changes. I'm going to grab one of these. This is kind of a fun thing because I can right click and I can say instances, select all instances. That's due to an extension from TomTom. That's not actually native SketchUp. I believe that's the groups and components extension. I want to say it's part of Solid Toys or Selection Toys, but I think it's part of group. And can anybody back me up on that? I think that's the case. So what I can do is I can take that, again, by selecting all those, and I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to call this 16-foot decking. And then I'm going to apply all of these selected pieces to my 16-foot decking layer and then turn it off. It's still in the model. It's still right there that all those pieces are still here. They exist, but they're not on the screen. So they just got hidden temporarily. What I want to do now is create a brand new decking board. So I'm going to come in here again, same as I did before, 1.5, come this way, 5.5, drop it down, and I'm going to take this one across 8 feet. Make component again, and this is a 2x6, 8-foot redwood. And the price on that is, nope, over here, 2x6, 8, $11.57. I'm going to take that one now. Option copy. Butt these two up against each other. Take both of them. And you just bear with me for 1 second. I know you guys are already calling this out, but just give me 1 second. 5.75 x20, is that right? x21. All right, so that gives us the same coverage as we saw before. I know I have this seam right now where they're all getting cut right down the middle, and that would be not perfect, not awesome. That's ugly. I get it. But right now I'm just checking what I want to use for materials. I can go back later and actually cut pieces so I can stagger the seam so it's not right in the middle. But right now I just want to see the impact of using 44 of these pieces versus 22 of the full-length pieces. So I'm going to without doing anything else, select it all, File, Generate Report. And I'm just running the exact same option, and that comes out to $509 rather than $664. So I just knocked $150 or so off by using smaller pieces. So again, not saying you have to use smaller pieces, but it's something worth considering. I'm going to take that a step further. I'll go ahead and grab these boards right here. Didn't use selection toys that time, just did some careful selection. And I'm going to create a 8-foot decking layer. I'll take all of those and put that on the 8-foot decking layer and turn the 8-foot decking layer off. All right, I'm going to go a step further than that. I'm going to mix it up a little more. Because I'm going to come in here and I'm going to start with another 1.5 by 5.5 inch square. I'm going to take that over 8 feet again. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that because I already have this existing as a component. So I'm not going to recreate something that already exists. I'm going to go to my components. I'm going to grab my 8-foot board and I'm going to bring it in. Put it right here. I'm going to copy it right there. And now I'm going to come in right here. Come over my 1/4 inch gap. I'm going to come straight up. Come over 5.5. Come straight down. So this is my 2x6 space, or my 2x6 space again, and I'm going to go 4 feet with that. And I'm going to make that into a new component, which is my 2x6 4-foot redwood, which costs
4 foot, 447.
Am I missing it already?
Weather shield bottom.
Yeah, that's not redwood
different?
though. Yeah, but 2x6 12 foot. I thought 4 foot was on here. I must have seen that. I got crafty with it.
Well, can you go to the when you go to the page? Can't you select the length of it?
Yeah, let's see if I can grab anything smaller than 8 foot. I was surprised to see 4 foot actually. That's pretty small. All right.
Did you have the one that had the selection of?
Yeah.
That's where you found 60. Is that what you're looking for, or something different?
No, I was actually trying to get crafty and come up with an alternating pattern of materials. I'm gonna make something up because I can. All right. Let's say that 8-footer costs. Let's say it costs.
Oh, alternating materials.
5.42. Because
it's on sale this
even
week.
numbers are for suckers apparently.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oops. I'm gonna come in here and get rid of that extra line. Don't need that. All right. And now I'm gonna take this board. Option copy it to. Oops. Grab it on a weird spot there. Right there. And then take this board. Option copied right here. And then I can grab all of that set. Option copy to here plus a 1/4 inch. Whoops, close up. Here plus a 1/4 inch is 11.5. I should be able to have to do that 11 times, maybe. That was too much. Easy fix. All right, so if we were to take that now, that deck, run that same report. Then we have to do math. So 119 plus 381 is precisely $500. So that was actually only a couple dollars savings. So maybe that's not the ideal solution. But hey, that was the thing we were trying, right? We try our different materials we have available to us. So having looked at our options, I'm going to say this isn't what I want to do. Plus, because, oops, selected too many. For many reasons, this not least of which is I can't actually buy 4-footers. I'm going to go back for my 8-foot decking, and knowing that what I could actually do is go in and cut those materials. I wouldn't actually lay it out like this. The seam goes here. I would maybe grab this one, cut off 2 foot, stagger across. That's something we can lay out later too. For the time being, just to get my materials in, I'm gonna leave it like this. So there's something else I want to think about right now as well, before I go any further. And that is how I want to close up these edges. This might be fine. If this was all the same material, this was all redwood material, this might actually look okay. You might be okay with this. I would want to say maybe we would want to put like a 2x6 or something on the edge just to kind of close it up, make it look nice. Plus it's another material to add. Plus it's going to add some issues with dimensions we'll see in a second. So say I wanted to put a 2x6 board just right here to kind of close up, give me a nice edge right there, maybe 2x8, we'll see. I'm going to come this way, 1.5, drop that down 5.5 inches, and pull that, I'll actually come out to about here. Yeah, see, that's nice. Issue right now, without having done anything else, this is a 10-foot 3 board. Not necessarily a bad thing, but again, it's one of the things we want to think about. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to drive to Home Depot and pick up a 10-foot 3. They don't usually stock weird lengths like that. I don't even know how many millimeters that is. Yeah, I know. Maybe we'll come back, Mark, and add a little bit more detail and some angle cuts and that kind of thing on here. Make it look beautiful. He's calling for a nice picture frame finish on there. It's always possible. Hey, you could do that. We could do that. All right. So right now, so to back up 1 second. There's 2 different phases I'm thinking of this in. One is the kind of pricing phase where I'm going to go through and figure out what materials I want to use, how big I want to make it. Do I want this to be 10 feet versus 12 feet versus 16 versus 20? How big do I want to make it? And then what do the materials look like there? And the second piece is going to be actual construction. I've finished my design out. Now I want to go in and get everything cut to the right lengths. So I'm saying that because this piece right here, like I said, is 10-foot 3. I can't get a 10-foot 3 piece. So this would have to, a couple things would have to happen. Either this piece will have to be bought long and then cut, which I'm building a deck. I probably need to come to terms with the fact that I'll have to cut something sooner or later. Or the main joists have to get shortened by 3 inches so that a 10-foot appearance board on the edge would cover it. This is where I can't tell you guys what you should do. This is kind of your call on that. This comes down to what you're capable of and what materials you can get a hold of. I could do some price comparison there too of what would it be like to, if I put this at 10 foot exactly and shortened everything, that would mean these whatever dozen joists I have under here would all have to be cut by 3 inches. So what is my time and labor cutting 3 inches off each of these board versus the time savings on buying a 2 foot longer board? that's your call. You guys get that, right? That makes sense. Bonjour from Montreal. Pierre on Facebook just checked in. So, all right. So right now, I'm going to assume that this piece right here will have to be a 12-foot member. So 12-foot member is 2257, and this is worth looking at too. I didn't even realize I'm looking at. Yeah, doesn't matter. $14 for a 10-foot piece versus 22 for a piece that's 2 feet longer. So again, that may weigh in. That actually says to me, because I'm cheap, that 2 of these boards are going to go from about $15 to $23. So that's $12 I could save by spending. How long would it take to chop 3 inches off these 2x6s? So I'm going to go ahead and do it. Mostly the reason I'm doing it is because it's a fun opportunity to make some changes in SketchUp. So I'm going to take this board right here. Before we make it a component, I'm going to push it back 3 inches. And this piece now is 10 feet. Make that a new component. And this is my 2x6, 10 foot, and it is red wood. And I already forgot the price. This is $14.47. Whoa, that'd be an expensive one. All right, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have another one of those.
Rick watching from Taiwan where it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Dang, I'm tired now and it's 1 in the afternoon. I can't imagine being at 3 a.m. But thanks for watching, Rick.
That's impressive. That's pretty cool. All right, so that's gonna take that board down to there. And now I'm gonna grab this board right here. Because it's a component, cutting 10 inches off of my 10-foot members is pretty simple because all I have to do is use push-pull. We've talked in the past about hiding. Do I still have my shortcut key hooked up? I do. About hiding rest of the model when you're editing a component. It's a good shortcut to have because I can just turn it off. If I don't have it on or for something simple like this, something you should know is when you're editing a component, you can only edit the geometry of that component. I can't go in and accidentally click on anything else. So if I was to go to push-pull and hover over where I know the face to be, I can click and push-pull that without ever having to actually see it. So that can be a little bit of a time saver. So what I'm going to do is I want to pull it back 3 inches and do that once. Something to remember right now. Since we're just using generate report, even though we shortened this material, it didn't change the price or the call out of that material. So this component is still a 10-foot board. This is nice, again, if I'm doing some cutting right now, because I know I'm going to have to go in and cut that piece, so when I create my final cut list later, I'll include my length, but it is going to be cut out of a 2x8 10-foot. I can grab this piece right now, slide it back in like that. That looks nice. And now I got to figure out what I'm going to do right here. Oh, man. What do I got here? I got a 1/2 inch extra material. So
Sand it. Get the sander out.
just run up and down there 700 times with a piece of sandpaper. And we'll do a high grit though. We'll do like 100, so it won't be so bad. All right, so I'm gonna assume I have the ability to cut a material down. So this end board, I'm actually gonna go in and cut down so it fits, or I don't know. I'll do something there. All right, so I do need one more board out here on the face. I'm actually going to just grab. Oh, I can't though, can I? So here's something else I gotta think of now. Ugh. Doing things the right way is rough. All right, so I'm gonna throw that on there right now. That's my 8-footer. Just to see if I was to put two 8-foot pieces down there to cover that corner, I'd end up with a 3-inch gap in the middle because of my 1.5 inch on either side. So, a couple things I can think about here is one, if I was to bring this over to here and then push it back in another 1.5 inches, then I'd get a nice even corner there. So to do that, I'd have to go back into my joists here, push that back another, wait no, I was lining up now. What did I do? Oh yeah, that's right. Push that back 1.5. So that's actually 4.5 inches taken off those boards right now. Push my support member here on the end back in. And now with that, I could actually do just a full length piece all around and have my 10-foot pieces right here lap over. And the only cutting I'm gonna have to do at this point right now is I'm gonna have to cut my joists 4.5 inches short, and I'm gonna have to run these last joists here through the table saw to shorten them by 2 inches. So I have to actually make them slimmer.
Bruce said maybe rip the one at the house, not the outside board.
That's true. Two, yeah, if I was to put this, have a full piece, since this one's gonna be halfway under the threshold anyhow, I'd probably push that one up against that side, yeah. That is an excellent call. All right, so right now, my deck cost me and actually, I think I can actually come in here. So now I have 10-foot boards, 8-foot boards, redwood, and then these are my framing boards. So there's my running total currently. All right. Not too bad. And this is a pretty simple deck. Like I said, we have time. We'll make a mess of something. I just want to take this a little bit further and actually go support this deck. So I have to get my additional materials in there, and then we'll start playing with it. Yeah, another call out. Christopher called out editing my spacing. So right now I have, I forget how many of these boards do I have, and I have 44. So I have 22 pieces here. With a 1/4 inch gap right now. If I was to add, so what's 3.5 divided by 22? It's math. 33, no wait. 3.5 inches. 3.5 divided by 22. So I'd have to add another 0.15 inches to my spacing. So that would be a possibility too. It really comes down to how big of a gap do I want to tolerate here. Personally, I don't want it big enough that I can get my finger stuck in there and hurt myself. So that's my judgment. I can't.
Yeah, a pinky toe was.
That's a good one.
Earlier was mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't want your little toe to stick in there.
That would be good. Yeah, so those are options too. We could actually absolutely do that.
Yeah, and like Mark pointed out, the drawing is right for estimation.
Yep.
The spacing really only matters to the customer.
Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm getting a material or a general idea of what it's going to cost. So yeah, I'm doing an estimate right now. Okay.
And then also, Voren's girl over on Twitch asked if you make one of those a unique component, would it still have the same price?
So if I was to take this board right here, let's make it unique. So what I just created was, it will be called, let's get this over here so we can look at it in real size. I actually don't need both of those. Oh, let me do this real quick because I had a bunch of junk in my original model. So I'm gonna go in and grab my model info and I'm going to purge it. So it's gonna get rid of all those components that were part of the house. There's a washing machine and sink and all that stuff. So that's gone now. All right. So when I did that, so that was one of my 2x6 8-footers. So that was right here. But look right here. So now I have this 2x6 8-foot redwood number 1. Everything has to have its own unique identifier, so I can't have two of them called the exact same thing. But if I hit edit on there, you'll see, well, actually, don't even have to hit edit. I just have to pick it, because I can come over here and drop down that additional information. So here is my standard redwood plank, and here is my redwood #1. So what I could do is I could replace that #1 or number 1 to maybe ripped. It's going to have the same price. So this is actually a way to get your cutlass price or your full material length prices with your final cut length lengths, is you can actually just maintain that price. The part where it gets tricky is if I get an 8-footer and I chop it into 4-footers, I'm going to use one here and I'm going to use one here. Because if you track both of those as 8-footers, then you have 2 8-footers in your list. What you end up having to do is one of them's the cut piece, one of them's the off-fall. The off-fall gets a price of 0, and then you can actually use them both. If that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. We can do that once we get in here and start, like I said, start getting into a little more of how do I want this to actually end up looking rather than, what materials am I going to use. But hey, since we did this already, let's go ahead and take our ripped member and pull that face back to where it needs to be. And there we go. And again, this is still going to show up as a full price board, but it's going to end up with a shorter piece. And just because it was a good idea and I liked it, I'm going to draw a line right here down the center of this model, just as a reference line, because I'm going to select all the instances of the main board, oops, but not these two, plus my 2 ripped boards, and I'm going to rotate them around the middle of this to as was suggested. Oops, I didn't take into account the thickness of that material. I'm going to scoot that over. That way I get my ripped board right up against the edge rather than out here at the face.
Beautiful.
That really is something. All right. There is my deck thus far. All right, before we go into making it bigger or making a step down or something like that, let's support this thing. I'm going to go in and, well, here, let's do that same thing we saw before. Or actually, I can just turn off my decking layer because it was all on that decking layer. And actually, we want these 2 pieces to go onto that decking layer as well.
Oh, save too, Marvin says.
Command S. Thank you, Marvin.
Said he watched the Notre Dame stream, so.
All right. Let's talk. Somebody asked if I had any models that I looked back at and I didn't like or that I was ashamed of, or I can't remember what it was. It was something negative. And I was thinking about this. I've had two things I've done on this live stream which still make me cringe, and that was not saving and losing an hour of Notre Dame modeling. That was not awesome. That was not my favorite moment.
It happens.
And then I just last week, you guys, trying to fix that stupid hubcap and make it 3D printable. Oh man, I'm sorry if you guys can't watch that. Hopefully come back and we can redeem ourselves here with this, but oh, that was rough. I was really trying, and then by the time I started thinking that thing's gonna be like this smaller than a button.
It's like 3 layers of filament.
And I spent like, I don't know, way too much time on it. And then the part that was super rough is the printer I went to print it on is actually broken, so I couldn't even print the stupid thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, you brought it up, but where's the Jeep-Arena?
I was going to print it on our Formlabs printer, which is a SLA printer, prints laser sinters, liquid resin, so you get super high resolution. But unfortunately, the tray that the resin sits in broke or something. It was sitting in the back, and a leak. Somehow all the resin poured into the inside of the printer. So
That doesn't sound good.
now I hit print just to see, oh, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe that just all dripped past the important stuff and it's just in a corner underneath. That's not the case. It started doing it once and it said motor's jammed. So what are you going to do? All right. Anyhow,
I'm gonna
onward.
step aside for a moment and grab some coffee. Do you need
All right.
anything?
I'm good. I actually have 2 containers still of coffee, so
Oh wow.
I come prepared. Not my first rodeo. All right. While Matt's gone, I gotta let you guys know. Hopefully you stick around to the end, because this is actually Matt's last stream with us. He's gonna move on. So at the end of the stream, don't say anything now, but at the end of the stream, you guys gotta give a big love you, Matt, miss you, Matt, that kind of thing. Because, yeah, we're gonna see how this ends up without Matt. Hopefully production value doesn't drop too much, but he's the guy who sets all this stuff up and makes it look good. So later. Let's get this thing supported. So on this side over here, this is actually going to, I have this ledger board. This piece of board will be bolted into the side of the house, and then we'll put some hangers on here, which we can actually, I can model something real quick and we can account for that because that will be price. It's, I don't know, less than $1 per connection, but that will be there. That's important. This board right here is really just going to get nailed right into the end of these boards, but we do have to put something under here, right here. Something to support it. So there's a couple ways we could do this. And a lot of this comes down to the materials you use, and there is some material sizing to be done here. These are, what do we do? 2x8s. So I don't think I can span all the way out. So a couple things could happen here. I could put an intermediate bearing, so something running across here, running down to some posts, and then a second one out here towards the end. Depending on the span, I might be able to do something like maybe 1.5 feet back, put a bearing there, and let this the deck cantilever out a little bit. But again, I don't want to tell you guys how that's supposed to be done. It's all going to come down to the loads you're designing for, where you're designing. That falls under the engineering umbrella, which is done by people with letters after their names and things like that. So I don't have those. So what I'm going to do for mine, and I want to do this intentionally because I want to copy some stuff, I'm going to put a double 2x8 here at the middle to support it, and I'm going to create a whole support system there, and then I'm going to slide it over and just duplicate it up front. So I'm going to come to the middle right here, find my midpoint, drop that down 7.25. Bring it, is that hitting? Oh man. Yeah, that's okay. So I'll tell you that I actually have quite a bit more space. I don't know what the actual tilt of the land is, but it's a couple feet, so it might be something more like that. I have space to put that in there. All right, I'll go relock that. I just did some landscaping. Get myself some space. So go
You mowed
here. That's right.
Yeah.
There we go. I don't mow my lawn anymore. That's I had children, so I don't have to ever worry about that one again.
Nice.
Hopefully they're not watching. I mean, I had children for totally different reasons, and then also now I don't have to mow anymore. All right, so this is actually the same board as I'm using for my ledger board. So what I should have done, delete, is just gone and grab that out of components. So if I go to my components right now, I can go find my 2x8 16-foot board, grab it and bring it in. And then, I can grab that by this end and just locate that to my middle. And I'm going to assume I need to double up on this, so I'm going to actually put 2 of them in there. And then I'll grab those, option copy, and put that right there. All right, so there is my deck thus far. Command S. All right, that looks great, but obviously I'm gonna have some issues with support because, well, because it's still not supported. So I had to come up with a couple ways to actually support these pieces. What I would probably do is actually post down. So put posts with a 16 foot, so maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 posts dropping down into holes full of concrete. That would be the default way to do it. There's some other options too that we can talk about, especially when we talk about support this close to the ground right here. How much clearance do I have here? Just over 3.5 inches. So I don't have a whole lot of space there. I mean, obviously it could still be done. I could have a post that runs almost directly into the concrete. The other thing I could do, well, like I said, we'll come back to that. So I'm gonna do this, this piece first. So I'm gonna come under here and let's go check out not sure what happened there. I got a pop-up or something happened. I'm gonna look for treated 4x4s. All right, so here's an 8-foot ground contact treated 4x4 material. So this is probably what I'd use. This is not going to be visible. It's not going to be like coming up on the railings or anything like that. So I don't care that it's pressure treated as opposed to a nice appearance wood. If I was to look at this, so 3.56 by 3.56 is what that piece is. So I'm going to come in here with a rectangle. I'm going to draw from the middle. I'm going to draw 3.56 comma 3.56. All right, and there, that's what my support member is going to look like. So something else to look at here is how I'm going to connect that to the, oh, hey, look, that's important stuff. Quickcrete, because that's what we'll have to put into a hole.
Okay, so the teaser.
That's right, foreshadowing. The other thing I want to think about is how I'm going to connect that to look at a 4x4 cap, maybe. Sometimes it's not fun to find things you don't know the exact names of. Post cap, there we go. See if we can find a structural cap. That's not what I'm looking for. Those are pretty. I don't want that. I don't want pretty. So what I'm thinking, just so you guys know, I'm thinking of, oh, building materials might just have it. Something along these lines that I could cover. Yeah, it might be maybe anchor.
That's anchor. Also, Dave Richards.
Hey, Dave.
Oh, happy Friday. And he also says, do you have to get the footings below the frost line?
Probably so. How's that for an answer? This is actually what I was thinking of. No, that's not what I was thinking of. I was thinking of something along these lines. Yes, there's all kinds of things to consider, and I know I'm walking the line, guys, of building advice and requirements depending on your region, and I don't want to be that guy necessarily. Yeah. If I pull this piece down, let's pull this down so it just, how far is that? Let's go 6 inches with this. Depending on, yes, where you're at, there's a lot of things to consider on how you anchor these things, how you tie these things down. If you do put in the concrete base, that does have a depth you have to go to. Some places, depends on the material, depends on the location, Can you just screw that into the concrete? Does it have to submerge in the concrete? Yeah, there's lots of stuff.
I'd like to ask if you could do a heated floor so that my little toesies stay warm.
You know, like they say, it never hurts to ask. That's the end of the thing I'm going to say there. 92 inches.
92 feet.
92 feet?
Well, that's what it says, 92 feet. Colorado's 92
That's a
feet.
big post. I don't know if they carry that at Home Depot.
And if they do carry it, it's going to take a couple guys to carry it.
That's right. Yeah, that's not going to fit in my minivan, guys. All right. So,
Simpson's strong tie.
yeah, so Simpson Materials is what I would always go to. You know what? Actually, I almost worked for Simpson at one point. Fun story. It's over. All right. So I'm going to make this a component. Colorado in 92, I think was what he was shooting for. It was cold?
No, he was just saying because
It is 92 right now. Oh, that's 75.
I think he just means, frost line is very low or something. I don't know. Too many jokes.
Yeah, this whole thing got short-circuited itself there.
Yeah, and Steven's right. If we used metric, it would have been
It would have been so much
smooth
easier.
sailing, easy peasy, and easy business. And risky business, for that matter.
All right. I'm putting this in just as its own piece right now. I'm not going to actually attach that to... I'm not going to put a price in for this right now. Because I'm just modeling, trying to figure out what the support system is going to look like. So I'm not going to mess with prices right this second. So I'm going to bring this all the way to the end. Now I'm snapping it from one side to the other side. So this is the full 20 feet. And I'm just going to type /4 because I know I want to put 5 supports in there. All right, so that's what I have right now. So I'm going to say that from here, what I want to do is I want to put in a form tube. That was what I was looking for. So yeah, probably just an 8-inch tube. Again, code may vary. I'm gonna say I want to put an 8-inch tube in there. So I'm gonna put a circle. I'm gonna take my circle from the middle of this square, and I'm gonna pull it out 4 inches. That's gonna give me my 8-inch. I honestly don't know how deep this has to go. I'm gonna say 2 feet deep. And I'm gonna grab that and I'm gonna make that into a component called my concrete. And I'm gonna move that from this corner point right here, option, to this one. And I can say X4, enter, and then I'll copy that across that many times. Now, what do we want to do with this as far as pricing goes? Well, what we can do is, because this is a solid right now, if I look at entity info, it's going to tell me this is exactly 1,192 cubic inches. That didn't help me a whole lot. That didn't tell me a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Because if I come over here, and let's just go look, remember our foreshadowing, Quickcrete. If I look at one of these, so if I was to grab a bag of this, it gives me 80 pounds. That's a big one.
Okay.
The math is going to have to get did.
See, we have numbers here, that's for sure.
So this looks like numbers. So if I picked a 60-pound bag, which is a big bag, at 6 inches thick.
0.6 cubic feet per 80-pound bag.
0.6 cubic. Where
That's what the comments.
Oh.
Mark commented that.
All right. 0.6 cubic feet. That doesn't seem like very much. Let's do this. Let's convert 1,000 cubic inches to feet.
Do you do rendering live? We've done like very rudimentary rendering live, but we haven't really had a stream specifically based on rendering or anything. Usually it just takes too long to get a super good looking one. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you've done any rendering yourself, you know that the best way to render is to hit the render button and then go do something else.
Walk away. Yeah.
So it's a time-consuming process. We generally stay away from it for a couple reasons. One is that it's not a fun thing to watch happen. So you can set settings, and I know there's some stuff, some live rendering stuff that's great. The other thing is talking about what's the best render. All the renders work slightly different, and we don't really have a preference. We like to work with as many renders as possible. And but doing that, what's the best render is like saying what's better, Mac or Windows,
Mac.
Honda or Ford.
Ford.
I blanked. I was going to go somewhere totally inappropriate, so I stopped. I hit the brakes. Anyhow, so just as a shot here, so Mark is saying 180-pound bag is about 0.6 cubic feet. I did 1,000. It's actually, what was it, 183, something like that. 1183. So I would guess, based on what we're looking at here, it's probably a bag of concrete per hole if we went 2 feet deep. A lot of assumptions are happening here. So what I could do, what that means for us, for our estimation, is that's an 80-pound bag for each of those things. So I could put $4.85 as the price for this. What did I say, $4.85?
Yes.
All right, so that means when I go in and put my, run my report on here, I'll actually get that as a line item. My concrete will show up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at $4.85 each. So that actually lined up very well. So now for something that's not going to line up quite as well, we have these guys right here, and they are currently, how tall is this thing again? 1 foot 3/4 inches. Who did that? Why?
It's all standard.
Who wasn't watching me? Who was not paying attention to what I was doing? All right, I'm gonna push this back up so they're a foot even, and then I can actually grab these guys right here and scoot them up 0.75. All right, beauty. So now these pieces right here, these are 5 1-foot pieces. So this is what we were talking about before. So this is actually a component. I called it a 4-foot by 6-foot post. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one of them, and I'm going to say make unique. And I'm going to call this my full-length post. And on that full-length post, I'm going to back up a couple pages. A couple more pages. All right, just give me this. What does this cost? And I'm going to put the price for the full 8-foot piece, which is $7.99, $9.77. On this one piece, and now these other ones don't have prices. So again, right now let's go ahead and run the report. I'm gonna go grab all this stuff. Boom, run it, and there's my prices. So some of the stuff is showing up as 0 pricing. Oops, I didn't turn my boards back on. Hold up. Let's get our decking back on there. And now if I run that report, that's my total right now. So you can see I have some zeroed out items. And then I have these pieces right here, which are actually costing the same as the full-size piece, but they're marked as being ripped. So at that point, I'm getting everything that I've drawn so far into my model. All right. Cool. All right, as for this piece right here, how are we going to support this? And I'm crossing the line again, maybe giving advice on something rather than, but there are concrete bearing blocks that actually just sit on the ground and give support to double 2x material. And I can't remember what they're called. Let's see what happens if I type concrete block.
Let's
What's
do
the
it.
worst that could happen?
I'm excited.
There we go. That was exactly what I was thinking. Concrete deck block.
Oh.
Apropos. So these ones actually look like they support a single member, not a double member. Well, hey, this will be fun. Let's model this thing. 10 3/4 by 10 3/4 by 7 3/4 tall. We do that. So I'm gonna come in here. 10.75 by 10.75, and then was it 7 3/4? 7.75. And it looked like we had a little bit of a taper here. It's probably not. I probably don't have the specifics. So it does accept a 4x4 post. That's nice. And up to a 2-inch thick material horizontal. Cool. All right, I'm gonna get a little fancy with this thing. So I'm gonna grab this. Actually, I'm gonna grab. Come here. Grab this and scoot it up. I'm gonna grab this right here. I'm gonna scale it about the middle by holding the modifier key. Something like that. And then I'm gonna draw a rectangle, which I know from the middle, option key, which I know to be 4x4. So I'm gonna go to the middle here. I'm gonna type 4x4. And then I could just do this. I could go draw another rectangle again by the middle, from this middle point. And I come out here. That's not quite as easy as I thought it was gonna be. So I'm just gonna come here 1 inch down. Oop. Take that, copy it up like that. So that should be 2 inches. All right, perfect. And I can take that and rotate that from the middle of my square. Option X3. All right, there we go. And I can actually just take that and push it down. Something not great's gonna happen right now because it's gonna cut in. Not a huge deal though. Did it specify how deep that cut was? 1 3/4 inch deep. Yes, it did. 1.75. All right. But now, of course, I need to notch to the outside, so I'm just going to push this out like this. I'll just do that all the way around. That's easy enough.
Arthur, hello from Brazil. Hello, thanks for watching.
Delete these pieces off of here. A lot of detail for a concrete block. We just modeled a few $1,000s of redwood in a few seconds, and now this what, $5-6 block is yeah, but it's something. I had to do something more than extrude rectangles today, guys. Come on. All right, there we go. Make a new component out of that, and I will call that our deck block. I think that's what it was called. concrete deck block. $8.27 a piece. Create that, and we'll go ahead and just grab it by the middle. So because the two, I'm actually going to drop this down to a single member. Move that member to the middle of the span, and then put this block right on the end. And then I can take this same way I did with the support columns. I can grab this by the middle point right here, option, hop down here, line up with the end right here, and then divide that by, well, I guess we'll do the same number, 4 pieces. Seems excessive, but all right. I don't have affiliate links at Home Depot or anything, so I'm not trying to sell you up on anything. All right, that looks acceptable. Let's see what that deck's gonna cost. If I select all of it again, once again, generate report, and I'm gonna go ahead and run it. And there's my total costs for my deck. Still feels too simple to me because it's only 130. That's why it feels simple. So let's look.
Hot tub. I want a hot tub. Just ignore me.
Here's Matt's hot tub. There you go.
Yay!
You can go hang out in there with Mark.
Is that to code?
Oh, it's totally slanted too. It's on the hillside. All right, Mark will be in the hot tub if you need him. All right. So let's do some stuff here. A couple things I can think of, and I'll throw this out. I want you guys' input. We should throw some stairs on here somewhere. Maybe coming off the front here so we can get down into the yard. Stairs would be one thing. We could throw a railing on here. So actually put some posts and railings around the side. Somebody talked about doing maybe more of a herringbone design rather than our straight across feature. We could also just alternate the planks. What do you guys think? What should we do next? What should we? This was the basic part. I figured a little over an hour. Yeah, we would have the bare minimum deck on here, and this is like we showed. This is enough to estimate off of. Now we could take this, and what do we do next? What would be fun? I defer to you, y'alls.
Well, you could put stairs on it. You could put a railing. Did you already say this? I wasn't.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. Is do we put a railing on here? Do we put some stairs? You're paying attention. No, that's you got it all. We could put
hot tub.
I did a hot tub, and it's awesome. And Mark's in there. He's good. His pants are all wet. He's good. Railing and stairs. All right, let's start with railing and stairs.
Or you could put a bench or some kind of, what else could you do?
Yeah.
Curved edge and cut the planks with the saw tools. I made that up.
That's
just kidding. That was Dave R, of course.
A curved edge. That's
stairs at a 45-degree angle.
Woo!
That was getting tricky fancy.
I like that. Let's do that. Let's chop this thing right here and put a 4-foot wide set of stairs. Like my stairs big. Let's do that. Let's start with the stairs. I want to put a railing on too, but obviously the railing is going to break wherever the stairs are. So wait, 4 foot, is that excessive? It's big. But you know what always happens with stairs, especially on decks, is it ends up being seating sooner or later. People sit down on them. So with 4 feet, that's a 4-foot step, that's a 2-butt step. So I like that idea. I like it a lot. All right. So let's I'm trying to think of a fun way to put 2 feet on here. No, I don't want to do that. I want to do why is that not flat? Oh, because I don't know what I did there. Anyhow.
Spooky.
So, if I wanted to put 4 feet exactly cut across here.
You're talking about hypotenuse.
That's the one.
Let me introduce you to something called the Pythagorean theorem, my friend. A squared plus b squared equals c squared.
So take a 4-foot piece here, and rotate that to 45 degrees. I got that. Now I can just grab this point and I can pull it straight across to there. That's probably the simplest way to do it.
Yeah, no math involved.
Oh, if there's a way to avoid math, I got you covered. No problem. All right, so here's the thing I'm gonna do. I just thought about this. Oop, no. So I'm gonna grab all of this and I'm going to turn into a group, and I'm going to copy that group. This group is going to go onto its own layer, which I'm going to call my estimating layer. That's where that guy goes. And I can actually put it then right on top of this layer. Here's the thing, and I'm going to be honest with you guys about this. As we go in here, I'm going to explode that back out. Again, I did all that estimating with full cut lengths and full materials, and I did not give any thought whatsoever to when I cut it up, what I'm going to do, tracking materials, anything like that. That was purely for estimating. Because the way I was doing that estimating with just generate reports and not a solution like estimator or quantifier or anything like that, as I go through and start chopping pieces up, because they're components, first off, I'll have to make them unique to cut them. And the issue that that's going to end up causing is those pieces will be priced the same despite the fact they get cut. That's when I'd have to use something more like one of those tools that's going to monitor my X length of material and apply that based on a board foot price or whatever else I have. So I just wanted to throw that out for you real quick. What I'm going to do right now is now we're getting into the creative part, and I may not have something that accurately represents the prices of what it would actually take to build. So fair warning, that's out there. Y'all know. All right, now then, let's get the saw out and make a mess. I'm going to go from the top down on this thing. So I'm going to start by cutting my decking, and I'm going to come underneath and support it properly. We'll start by grabbing, just so you know, Matt, my chat wants you to reload it.
Oh, okay.
So I need to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces unique. So I want these to go away from what the cut is right now and make it a new cut. So what I am often tempted to do at this point is to grab all of these and say, make unique. That sounds like that's the way it's gonna work. That sounds right, but what that actually does is if I have multiple instances selected, it makes that group into a new component. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it right now. So when I hit make unique, we're gonna go take a look at our component list. Details, that's what I'm looking for. So here's my list right now. So if I grab all of these, right click and make unique, watch what happens. I don't get 9 new pieces. I got 1, 2. So right here, these 2 boards, if I look at the entity info, are the exact same board. Same with each of these. So that means if I was to come into this board, for example, and cut that down, it's cutting all those boards because of that.
It's not right.
That's not right. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to undo a couple times. what I have to do is take each of these pieces one at a time, make unique. If I'm worried about the name, then I would have to come in here and say, this is now going to be called, I'm not going to worry about it too much because, like I said, we're making a mess on a separate layer, but I would have to monitor each of these pieces as its own piece. So something to keep in mind there. All right, right now I'm just going to pull this one back. So I'm gonna go into this group, and I'm going to pull it back. Oops, I didn't do something right. I have my group on here twice. I didn't put it on the I created the estimating layer. Oh, and I put it on that dang M layer. All right, there we go. So I pulled that one back. Same thing here. I'm gonna, before I select, I'm gonna right click, make unique, double click, and push pull it back. There's a reason I'm not cutting this to the angled line. I'll touch on that. Push it back, make unique. There actually is an extension out there, which I think it's called Make All Unique. I don't know, Dave, if you remember that. Which I think it made everything you had highlighted unique. So that would be an option as well. Something else that is tempting to do that you want to stay away from is after I make unique, one of the things that you may be tempted to do, and depending on the final deliverable, this might be okay. Scale seems like a great way to just pull a board back. If in the end you're going to pull dimensions off of it and it's just a rectangle, that's okay. But in fact, I'm not changing the length of the board, I'm deforming the container. So it actually, if you have things like angled cuts, so let's, just for fun, let's go in here and actually cut this right here. So if I was to do that, if I use scale now to deform it, what's going to happen is the further back I push this, see how that angle cut is actually moving? That's because I'm deforming the container. I'm squishing the container and not actually moving geometry. So just something else to keep in mind. Some shortcuts work, some shortcuts don't work so well. All right, so oops, one more. Make one more unique. And I'll come in and I'll push that back. All right, that's that. I need a brand new board here because I need my face board at the angle here. So I'm gonna start by drawing that actually. So I'm gonna drop down 5.5. I'm gonna drag that over. I'm gonna go parallel to this line right here. Bring it up, push it 1.5, and make that a new component. And this is my, I don't like that key tracker when it shows me just how bad I am at typing. Yeah. Wow, you use delete a lot. All right, so that's what I actually need there. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to do some cutting. I will start by grabbing this board and pulling it through. Pull this one through this way. And the actual cut line I want is right here. And I have to put that cut line on both pieces, but there we go. So that's pretty easy way to close up that front right there. Do the same thing over here. Pull this one through, that way I get my cutting faces. This is my cutting face. I'm gonna come over to this one.
Scary.
Same thing. Oh, so close. There we go. And now I can take my boards, and I can actually do the same thing. I'll just pull them through real quick. Actually, this is a spot where I could probably even use solid tools. So like Dave was saying, it'd be fun to do a solid tools, do a curve. The process would be the same. If I was to take these and pull these all through. Well, this one's going to be a little different because that's going to have 2 cuts on it. But then what I can do is, since each of these is actually a solid component, I could select my cutter. I could go turn on my solid tools and say, well, it's going to be it's still going to be extra part. Yeah, I did this, whatever.
John,
Trim, there we go.
John says, gotta go. We'll finish watching later. Thanks for the vid.
Thanks for coming by, John.
Use these tips for my everyday building and design from Ontario. Thanks for watching, man.
Yeah. So the issue with solid tools is this. I ran this board through, I used solid tools to trim, and now I have basically 2 pieces. So I gotta come in here and delete that. As opposed to coming in here like this and cutting it all off at once. Why am I not getting a delete on those things? This is not one versus one's better than the other. It's really however you want to do it. I know there's other things out there like Enroth solid tools, which will do things like the order selection. There's some different ways, but I don't know. Maybe one of you guys have used it. I don't know if it will trim off and delete geometry like this. I think no matter what we do, I'd have to come back in and clean up that extra geometry. So if I use any of those other tools. And this guy right here, he's gonna be special because he has 2 cuts, 1 to here, 1 to here, like that. All right, so there's my angled section. So this is what I was saying about working my way down, because what I have right now is, this is my finish. This is what, hey Mark. He's just popped it. Still hanging in the hot tub.
Is it a hot tub time machine? Says Steve.
I got nothing.
Hot tub time machine 2.
Yeah. Well, obviously it was a good movie. They made a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why I should watch it. All right. So these boards right now are all on my 8-foot decking layer. So I could actually turn these off. Oh, the new one I made was not. That's actually perfect. This one I can put back on 8-foot decking. This board, since I just created it, is still on layer 0. I didn't assign it to layer yet, which was technically an oops, but it was a good oops. Because now I know with that layer turned off what I need to trim to over here. So what I can do is I'm gonna need basically a board right here that goes from this support here to another support over here. And yeah, that should be good. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do just that. I'm gonna create a new board that goes from here to here. I'm gonna make it the same way I did before. One of the things you will run into potentially as you create geometry, especially at angles like this, is remember piece of material, a 2x4, is the same size whether it's turned this way or turned this way. So I really like to try to use push-pull to push my materials through. That way I can be assured that I'm actually pushing that through an exact distance. I don't want to, have this be a weird length because I drew it at an angle. Push-pull always pushes 90 degrees, so if I can get one face created, I can push-pull the width and it'll be exact. I'll just pull that through, and I'm gonna pull that through. So then I can take this board and reassign it to layer it's supposed to go on, which is my 8-foot decking. All right, now I know I have this, and this is what I want to cut everything to. All right, so this board, I don't have it in a group or anything yet, so I'm actually get this exactly the way I want it.
Christopher was asking if you had any idea why this bottom face is not getting deleted with the push-pull.
I was just going to ask you, Christopher, if you had any idea.
Or does anybody in the chat?
Why am I not losing my faces?
It's not going away.
Saving face joke inserted here. I don't know why it's I'm not losing it. It should disappear. I'm gonna do some of the same stuff here. I'm gonna make this unique. I would tend to think that an issue like, whoops, didn't make unique. I would tend to think something like that has to do with the geometry not being square or on axes or something like that. But we're going to check real quick as styles and color my lines by axes, which everything is lined up on an axis right now, so I don't quite get why that's not happening. It's weird. It's really weird.
Also, did you just leave a stray line out?
Oh, did I? Is my container? Nope. Looks like.
Oh, okay.
So I'm good on that one.
Nice.
All right, in this one, I would probably do something like make this unique. Come in and pull this back to this corner here. Something like that. Oh, that one disappeared.
Huh.
Magic.
Freaky.
Yeah, no.
We should ask the software engineers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go upstairs to the engineers and demand answers.
Question. All right. So I'm going to grab these two guys right here and make unique. Because remember, this board is actually this board over here too. And I come into here, and because I made both of them unique at the same time, I can push them back together to... I should put just a little bit more like that. Actually, I'll probably come all the way out, something like that, so I have a full seat for that piece. That should be fine. All right, and now, other thing I'd probably do here then is maybe move this one to here, and then I would probably come in, delete these ones, because I'll take this right here, scoot it out to here, and then redo this because I want them evenly spaced, so put it over there and then divide that by 3. So I have my even number posts there. Super duper. I need to make this a component still. And this is my 2x8 angled. All right, so let's see how that looks when I turn my decking back on. I have to pull this piece back. There's kind of a mess in there that would need to be cleaned up. Oh, and I did not pull it in. I put it at the same spot. Oh, everything's horrible. All right. This needs to be 1.5 inches in. So not too big a deal,
Whoa.
fortunately. So if I go from here, 1.5, I just take this piece, scoot it, and now I can, nope, that one didn't, no. Because my appearance board's going to come here, so I might actually take this one, make it unique, push it back so it intersects there. Whoops. Just get out of my way, buddy. All right. Now, if I was to take this, push this through, and now I just take this one, here. Decide who's going to be holding who. I think this one will actually have a little more width on the column, so I might do something like, whoops, that, and then I can take this guy right here and maybe something like that. I'll have to get a connector plate there to connect those two pieces together, but that's not a big deal. Actually, I'll probably do the same thing here. And this is probably a little fancier than I really have to be, but unfortunately my the members that I have covering on the outside aren't full length. They don't hang down past, so these structural boards will actually be visible, so I may have to summon like that. Something like that might work. All right, I'm gonna have to have some additional connectors in there to support some of this stuff, but yeah. Let's turn our 8-inch decking on again. Everything laps happily. And now I can throw some stairs down. All right, so Control S. Anyone?
Nice. Yeah, it's always a good time to save. So we're about 2 o'clock right now. Call it halfway through. What do you
Let's
think?
take a break, shall we? All right. Fetch a beverage, whatever you like best. Go ahead and grab it. We're going to step away for just a moment, and yeah, we'll get back at this. We'll throw some stairs down here, throw some railing on here. Hi, Mark. And yeah, we'll wrap this thing up. So
Cool.
awesome. All right, so we'll see you guys in just a few minutes. We'll be back soon.
We'll be back. Before Aaron gets back, I want to try to use this green screen real quick. Da-da-da. Whoa. Now we're talking. Oh, baby. Walking on the moon? Yeah. Oh, yeah. We got the green screen. We had the white one for too long. It was too much of a hassle to set up. We finally sprung for the green itself. What?
That was hungry
Ooh, you're gonna play some golf on there? You got your desk on the moon? Oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm off the moon now. I'm inside.
You came into the moon base.
Yes, we got a green screen. We finally just bit the bullet and went for it, so. All right. Excellent. All right, let's
Maybe at the end we can green screen you onto your own deck. We'll get you a
Ooh.
lawn chair, stick you in there, and
Yeah, since we can't find some sounds, we'll just have to abuse the green screen.
hey, I tried to make a saw sound effect earlier, but
Didn't happen.
that's
That works.
you cutting
that
the
was
wood.
basically it.
Yeah.
Is there a SketchUp Presential? Presential?
Maybe presenting.
There's nothing in California that I know of.
But the roadshow, the nearest roadshow is here in Colorado, right?
Oh, LA is.
Oh, there is an LA one.
No, that's August. Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Yes. We're doing for those of you who don't know, something we're calling the Boot Camp Roadshow, where our SketchUp team is traveling around to a couple U.S. cities over the summer, one per month, and doing basics training. So, yes, in August we will be in LA, and as of now, I believe it is sold out. But keep an eye out because we have had people returning tickets. So.
Nice. StubHub. Check StubHub for some tickets, maybe.
Yeah, it's possible. That's kind of a big deal. Could be happening there. All right. So now we have is this right here? This face is exactly 4 feet. So I'm gonna scoot this guy back a little bit. That may require a cap of some sort. All right, so what I'm going to do is design a 4-foot set of stairs, and I'm probably going to design it off to the side and then come slide it in afterwards. Yeah, this right here you're talking about, the funky corner. Something's got to hold up something somewhere, so I mean, I guess I could always angle cut these guys too, so these could come out. And then I could make each of these unique. And I could angle cut, but you know what? Realistically, that doesn't do a whole lot for me, but as far as I remember from engineering, this little thing from here to here has no structural value. So maybe something like that. Just make it look nice. I don't know. The important thing here is going to end up being the connectors, this connected to this, connected to this, all that stuff connected together, resting on top of here. Yeah, I want to say that's what I'm thinking. All right, so we'll make a 4-foot set of stairs. I'm going to do this. I'm going to come in here and grab this face right here. Control C that. And I'm just going to come off to the side. Control V. And I'm going to build this because I don't... So there's a couple ways I could do this. I could actually make this into a group and then put that group on axes. But I'm just going to do this. I'm going to create a face that's on axes, it's facing towards me. I don't like designing at an angle if I can help it because all the snaps, all the inferencing inside of SketchUp is based on that XYZ, straight up, down, left, right quadrant system. So as soon as I turn to 45 degrees, then I have to think, is that me? Huh, sorry about that.
Right.
Little interruption.
I don't mind.
All right, so what I'm gonna do is I want to start by making this a component, and I'm gonna call this my riser, and then I'm gonna take it and flip a copy on its side and call that my tread. All right, so one thing I'm going to do is my treads are actually, I'm going to make them kind of big, so I'm going to come over this way. My treads are going to be 2 steps deep, and I'm going to have a little bit of an overhang on them. So grab this option, stick it right here, and slide it back. I don't have it stick out a ton, but maybe, let's say a 1/2 inch. So that's what my stairs look like right now. That works. I'm gonna do that a couple of times. So I'm gonna say go from here to here. All right, so I'm just gonna run, I'm just making a big long set of stairs because I know I'm gonna have to cut this. It's gonna hit the ground at an angle, so some stuff's gonna have to happen when I hit the ground, but right now I'm just laying out, this is what my steps are gonna look like. I could have made these 3 pieces into a group together so it was easier to copy, but you guys were smart enough to follow that, you got it. All right, so that looks okay. That's what I want my stairs to look like. I may actually come back and maybe on my risers I'll actually push them in a 1/2 inch on either end also, just to kind of match that the tread overlap aesthetic. I don't know, that look. Oh, looks good. That's a good looking set of stairs. So now what I need to do is I need to put some stringers in here. I'll probably, with these are 4-foot wide stairs, so I'll probably put one, you know, maybe just inside of here on either side, and then another one in the center. I'm gonna do this by, first thing I need is I need a reference line, a construction, or a line that indicates this path. So I'm gonna go like that maybe. Yeah, by that. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a piece of material and put it in there and then cut it for the steps. So I'm gonna do this by, I'm just gonna draw a piece totally separate and bring it back in and put it in and cut it. Again, there's so many different ways to do this particular, how do you put this thing together? It's kind of your call. I'm gonna assume that I need at least, let's see, if I go right here, I go, give me this, it's not giving me perpendicular. I can ballpark. All right, so that's about 4 inches right there. So I'm gonna say I want to use a 2x10s for my stringers, just to be safe, so make sure there's enough material. And give me some options to rearrange those treads and risers a little bit if I don't like the spacing on those steps also. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna draw a 10-foot line, and it's gonna just be 2x10, so 1.5 inches wide. There you go, and then I'll push that up 9.25. And we'll make that a new component, and I'm just going to call that my stringer. All right, so this is my material that I'm cutting from. I'm going to take that, and I'm going to start by lining it up right here, and then I have to rotate it so it's in line like that. Obviously that's not going to work. I'm going to move it up then. I'm going to grab it by where it hits this. So I'm going to use this intersection point as my handle to grab, and then slide it straight up to there. I don't need this anymore. Now, all right, now I can come into this piece and I can do some cutting. Just gonna cut like that, and then that triangle can be copied, pasted right here. X4. Ooh, nice shot.
Nice.
All right. And then I can just double click each of these surfaces. All right, so what that gives me is that. So there's my stringer thus far. It's probably not going to be, I'm not going to save that like that, so I'm going to probably cut this like this. And then same thing down here, just for the time being. Like I said, I realized that I'm going to have to do something interesting to get this to line up on the ground. But for right now, that's what I got. That works for me. So I'm going to take that, make a copy of it, Option, slide it right over to here, divide by 2 to get my middle stringer. And I got a set of stairs. Let's do this. Let's copy this to there. Looks pretty good. I can actually get rid of this piece too, because that's actually the board that's already up there. I'm going to grab that then and make that a group, not a component. This is not going to be a repeating thing. The only time I'd worry about making a container like that around other pieces of component is if I'm going to use this again and potentially going to move where those pieces are on the inside. This is personal. Dave is on here. Dave has some different design ideas on how to use. He uses components all the time, and that's cool. I don't know, force of habit. If it's a container just holding pieces, I call it a group. But I'm going to take my group now. I'm going to grab it, and I'm going to install it. All right, so I'm going to stick it right here, and then I'm going to arbitrarily grab a point and rotate it 45 degrees. I know this is exactly 45, so I'm not really worried about using an exact number to, whoa, ooh, that was about perfect. That was about perfect.
No surprises here. Exactly how you drew it.
All right, I'll slide this back onto this line for right now. I'm just going to take a look at some stuff, see how some stuff lines up.
Sure.
All right.
WRA Design, thanks again for some great lessons. Keeps me working late on Friday from the East Coast.
Ooh.
Nice. High praise. Anything that gets you to stay at work after work's over, especially on the start of the weekend,
That's something.
yeah, that's impressive. So, yeah, thanks for sticking around and watching.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. And Marvin said he would not have thought to copy the triangles to remove the stringer pieces. So interesting to see how people think in 3D.
And that is one of the things I really like about SketchUp, and most drawing programs work this way, where you get handed a group of tools and everybody uses them a little bit differently. It makes things work a little differently. So it's fun to watch other people model for that reason exactly.
And John tuning in from Israel.
All right.
Appreciate having you. Thanks for watching.
All right, so a thing is happening right now. Here's the thing. Because of the way we set this up, this step does not include the 1.5 inches of our treads here. So we have a weird short step and then a full step. Let's see, how tall are these steps? 5.5 inches. They're not terribly tall steps to begin with. This one is 4 inches. So that's probably going to be noticeable. So what I would probably do at that point then is we'll just push this thing. Try that again. All right, if we drop that down 1.5 inches, now we at least have similar size steps there. Now we're going to have an issue potentially. I'm going to temporarily hide this top step. Who saved last? I don't know what just happened. Bugs what? All right, let's hop back in and see where I saved last. Nothing if not an adventure. All right. All right, let's go open our deck back up. And this is cool. So it did have a recovery version. Open the recovered version? Yes, please. All right.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. All right, so we'll go back in here, drop this back down vertically, head into this group, grab these 3 pieces, hide them temporarily, turn that on. All right, so this is what we're dealing with right now. So really, the big thing that we're concerned with right now is a solid connection between these stringers and this board back here. So there's a little bit of overlap there, but not a ton. Trying to think what would be the thing to do here. Because one of the things we could do, this isn't going to give much structural, not going to give a whole lot of strength here, but that could actually not be cut off. That's not going to do much to hold the stairs up, though. The other thing, let's see, we could do something like, oops.
Hi from Istanbul. Hello. And yes, as Dave pointed out, you should always send your bug splats. Write down what you were doing when it splatted. Put in your email there. Be a responsible SketchUp user.
Mm-hmm.
In the interest of time, Aaron didn't do that, of course. But
I don't do that because then the developers make fun of me. Make me feel bad about myself. Yeah. So I mean, in case you guys see that, Bugsplat is a third-party product we use to report when a software is running and it ends catastrophically like that. The software doesn't know to do something. So Bugsplat's actually something that runs on top of SketchUp that goes, oh, SketchUp did something it wasn't supposed to. Let's report upon that, and then it can send that back into us. Typing your name and information in there doesn't assure that somebody's going to call you and go, hey, saw that you had a splat, let's figure that out for you. What that does is, if it happens regularly, for one thing, telling us what it did, we may see a pattern. So we may find out that, some new video card is causing issues with SketchUp and causing splatting because we're seeing these reports come in with that same information in the system. The other thing that happens is if you're having the same problem a lot and you reach out to like the support desk or something like that, they can actually go talk to our developers and track down your specific splats and get a little more information on it. If you do what I did where I just hit OK, left, then it's a little harder for them to look it up because there's nothing indicating that came from my system. So yes, that was improper. Dave caught me. Again, that's why we love Dave, keep him around because he catches me. All right, I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna pull this face back. Whoops. And I'm gonna cut this off here. Hey, my faces are disappearing now. That's a plus. And I'm gonna grab this entire group and slide it back this way. That doesn't work either, because then I hit my pieces here. All right, well that plan didn't work.
Nobody said it was going to be easy to relax in your backyard on a wood support device.
That's right. Really, just don't use the stairs. They're superficial. They're not for walking on.
For show. Please just jump off.
That's right. All right, so I'm gonna unhide everything. Oh, I have to go into the group. Sorry, it's context. Edit, unhide everything. Give me my step back. So that pushed that under there, which actually made the step small. So I don't want to do that either. Lots of undos. All right, so here's what I actually want to do. Yeah, man, I'm trying to figure out how to support that better. I can't really think of anything great. What do you guys got?
Yeah, what do you guys think in the chat? What's the best way to get these stairs structurally sound so they don't collapse under anybody who's trying to walk down them? Hi, Eduardo. Thanks for watching.
All right. All right, so I wanted that, that bleacher seating thing. I think I got that all right. Nice wide steps. And just here, we'll practice. Sit here on the steps and watch Mark in the hot tub. Nice. They work. Add a 2x8 on top of the stringer that would butt against the rim board. So right here across like this. Oh, I see what you're saying. So put something here and then run it across, and then connect it that way, and then connect it this way. That makes some sense. Let's do that. You have to go that.
Other people said change the angled 2x6 to 2x8 or 10.
Oh, this one right here, yeah. The only problem is it's sitting on top of my columns. So if I drop that bigger, then I have to support just that and have this stuff tie in there, which is also possible. That's also totally doable. This would work too, though, because this would give me a little bit more connection, I think.
Yeah, I think new horizontal beam on the deck. That's between the posts. That looks like what you're...
That'll actually give me, well, that doesn't really give me much more connection. That gives me a couple inches of connection. So I could put another row of screws here and then end screw these pieces in.
Simpson makes a hanger.
Well, of course, Simpson makes a hanger for everything. Yeah, I could actually get fancy with some straps on here too and get this whole thing connected together. But yeah, that's true, because I believe there is a thing that I could actually loop over this that would hang underneath this angled piece and back up too, that would hold that. Yeah.
Have the stringers butt into the 2x8 and back screw.
Into this, yeah. That's I'm thinking there's not enough, because there's maybe this right here is just under 2 inches, so I can structural screw. I could put two in there, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, which is not a whole ton to hold up this whole thing. But there's also 3 of them. Reality is probably okay.
What about the possibility of raising the whole thing straight up so that top step is just like an extension of the deck and then adding another step down or something?
That's why we keep Matt around.
Yeah, see? I'm a deck guy. I'm a woodsman. Not a wordsmith. Never said I was a wordsmith.
I think you're using that right. All right, let's simplify this. There we go. Look at that. With that,
Jesus, what's up? What is that cardboard cutout looking thing?
You talking about Mark?
Oh, it could be.
That's Mark. He's in the hot tub.
Yeah, he's just chilling.
Are you talking about me?
Really. He's heating up.
All right. That kind of did it.
Thank you. I will take my cut. I will bill you later for the consulting on the wood thing.
On the wood thing. Make sure you put that in the receipt, buddy. Wood thing consulting fee.
Got it. I'm an expert in my field.
All right, so now the question would come down, of course, how is this going to actually sit down here? This would require some landscaping. Hopefully it stepped into some patio area. Maybe we would build it up. So maybe we would do something like end my...
It's because the axes were built off the original rectangle that you made for this thing.
Right, so now, yeah. That's why I'm getting weird lines here. I just need an inference off of this line. Oh, I'm snapped to the wrong line. That's the problem.
Ooh, yes.
Not sure why that happened. I scooted that over wrong. Okay. Now I can come in here and inference to that through to here. Delete.
Nice.
There we go.
Thank you to the chat for all the high praise. I certainly deserve it. I will take everything you have to say and more.
Yes. So then probably at that point, we would do something along the lines of something didn't go right there. There's your problem. All right. Let's work off of this. Happen again. Take this one. And if I can't draw it right, I'll rotate it. There we go.
Now all you need is a grill and some chairs. That's right. Oh, baby. And a cold drink of your choosing. Summertime, summertime. Summertime.
And summertime. All right, so maybe this comes out onto our little patio.
Oh, nice. A deck and a patio? We're getting more than we bargained for here.
Yeah, we're pretty high end. Kind of big deal. Yeah, anyhow, something like that. Let's talk about railing. So, railing's a pain because it's so much repetitive stuff, you know? It's like the same thing over and over and over again.
It's profile builder.
Yeah, actually, profile build, if for the sake of modeling, profile builder is great. I was talking about actually assembling, but yeah, that is a good idea. I'm going to do some posts that my post will come. This post is going to come up exactly 3 foot 3 inches because that's as high as I could go. I'm going to make that into a new component. I'm going to call that my railing post. And I'm going to deposit that at various spots throughout my model.
And yes, Valley Architects looks like it has a scripted fence and posts extension or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
They do. And like you said, profile builder would be a great way to do it too. I'm just realizing I did not make this unique.
Oh, and you cut it on the other side for the stairs.
Yeah.
Mm.
And this is how you're reminded that you didn't make something unique. You end up with this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Need deck on the last piece you did. I don't know exactly sure what you mean. Can you clarify a little bit?
Decking on the last piece? Are we talking about that spot that was missing right there? Yeah, that was it.
Or, yeah. Don't know. Hi. Ducks. Have you guys designed a car yet? Aaron did a school bus on one of these live streams, so
That
a vehicle, certainly.
counts as something.
Elongated car with plenty of chairs for school children.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
All right, I'm thinking I don't like this 4x4 post anymore. See what happens if I do something like this. Really, I'm trying to think of how this is all going to go together is really the question.
You should do a cop car, yeah. Certainly could do a...
That'll be fun. We can throw that on the list.
Yeah.
All right.
I've been using both Valley and Profile Builder for Rails. Can't decide which I like better. Both work great. Cool, yeah.
Isn't that a great problem to
Both good
have?
tools,
I don't know which one to use.
Everything just works so well.
That's right. I love them both.
Oh, the white rectangle after the stairs. I think that is just like a concrete slab patio.
Yeah, this was just
section.
my slab landing, something like that. Oh, hey, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. Is that a good whistle impression?
Oh, dang it. Oh, hi, Mark.
I did not kill her. I did not.
I did not hit her. Oh, hi, Mark. Referring, of course, to one of the best movies, worst movies ever made, The Room.
You could throw a football around on this deck as well.
That could happen.
They like to throw the football around in that film.
Because that's what you do when you're casual dudes just hanging out.
Yeah, just a couple of guys.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
All right, I'm trying to get some, decide exactly. I'm making stuff up. I'm designing here. All right, that looks like it'll work. So from there, I would probably do something like, I can't remember what the numbers are. There's numbers limitations with railing, how big something can be. So if I have something like, if I don't want to take this all the way down, so I don't want my vertical members to go all the way down past the end. If I want to put a horizontal piece across there and have a space, there's a limit to how big that can be. I can't remember if it's 2-3 inches, something like that. Same thing with the vertical members. There's a maximum distance apart those can be. I don't remember what those numbers are, but I realize they exist. So please forgive me if I do anything, decking faux pas. So I'm going to come up 3 inches. And I'm going to use 3/4 inch material. 4. All right, I'm within. I'm legal. And I will say, no, I should probably just. we'll just do 2x4 material.
Safety is our #1 priority in this backyard deck. We don't want anybody falling off.
That's right, because it's a solid 1.5 feet to the ground.
Yeah, and we don't want any twisted ankles. Nothing can ruin a good backyard deck day than having a little twist on that ankle.
All right, so I'm going to grab these two members right now, and I'm going to make them unique together. Making them unique together makes them a whole new instance. So I can grab one of these now, and I can pull that across like that. And both of them come. And I have a little extra geometry there. Here we go. All right, and same thing, I'll grab these two, do basically the same thing. Alt, copy that over. Turn X-ray to get my snap point. Right there. Right now, while they're selected, make unique again. I'm gonna step in, get rid of that extra line, and push-pull this back. Ooh, X-ray.
Christopher said, since you've left color by axis on, it's quite festive.
It is. Hey, would you hang out on this deck and do some? This is a fun deck. All right, let's say we're gonna throw a couple 2x2s on here as railing. What's my railing distance? Who had that? Christopher. Christopher's the guy who had all of our ship information.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was. Christopher's our ship guy. What's the minimum or maximum spacing between verticals on a deck? Is that?
Well, apparently in the UK it's 100 millimeters. Get a little metric in your life. That's me singing.
That was you singing. Oh, it is 4 inches also. Okay, so let's go over 4 inches, which is just a few millimeters more than 100 millimeters, in case you're wondering.
Okay. Do you make these streams into videos? Yep. I mean, it'll just be the full stream will be up on YouTube afterwards, and I guess Facebook too, probably, and Twitch for 2 weeks.
All right, so this is just gonna be a simple. What are those vertical things called? We had this balusters.
Wait, really?
Yeah, we talked about this last time. Or on the pirate ship. Is that where we talked about it?
Barristers? Yes, you're thinking of defense attorneys.
That's the one.
Put them up and knock them down.
No,
No, I don't know what. I have no idea.
the vertical members in a railing.
I wasn't here for the ship thing, dude.
Vertical
Slats,
thing.
styles.
Styles.
Yes, maybe baluster was right.
Baluster.
Balloonster?
Baluster.
Picket? Yeah, white picket fence.
All right.
This is a white picket fence.
I thought that's what it is, so that's what I'm using. All right, I'm gonna take that then. Option, move that 5.5 inches because that includes my 4-inch gap plus my 1.5-inch material. I'm gonna say do that times, I don't know, let's start with 12. Times 20, that works.
My gosh, there's so many words for this thing. It's like if you look it up in the thesaurus, it's the #1 most synonymous word in English.
Wow. Is that a lie?
I don't know. Apparently, we knew it started with an S. Does it start with an S? It starts with a B. A stick. A stick is good, yeah. A wood item. The thingy. Yep. It's definitely
Big
a
fan
thingy.
of, yeah. That's a kind of a catch-all in my talking things. It's looking good, guys. It's all coming together. Actually, I'm going to do this so that it lines up with the other side. I'm going to start it on this end. So if someone was to look through this way, it would look symmetrical.
Good thinking.
Yeah, I do that. All right. That's looking pretty super. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put something on the top here. So I'll just put a 2x6. Pull that through a little long. What's a railing cap? What's that called? Handrail. That was an easy one. Probably should have had that. That was not complicated. All right, I'm gonna grab that one. Copy it to right here. Use rotate, swing around 90 degrees. Make it unique. Bring that out to the end. And then grab this guy. Put it, put it up against the, there we go.
Yes, it's called a beer holder.
That's it.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna put that flush, and then I'm actually gonna, how far out does this stick on this side? So this, let's see. So it sticks out 2 inches. I kind of like it flush to the inside. One of the things I was thinking about doing was splitting the difference so it hung over on both sides, but I kind of like this, it looks nice when it's flush up like that. So I'm just gonna pull it this way to match the overhang from the other side. I'll do the same thing here. Pull this 2 inches this way. And then this one, I'll actually cut this right here. I'll cut this at 45. Oops. Gotta draw the cutting line, big guy. There we go. Did it. All right. So, that's pretty cool looking. That's a nice little deck.
I like it.
All right. I do gotta say, much as I like, well, actually, I already said I don't like this seam right here. I think we should go in and we should do a herringbone thing there. We'll do a little back and forth. Well, actually, let's match it here. We'll start here and come this way. We'll come the other way on the other side, and then in the middle we'll get a nice. That's the technical term.
I trust you. I don't know what you're talking about, but I trust you.
You guys you know what I'm talking about. All right. One of the things I'm going to do is, because I'm going to want to use solid, because I'm going to draw in a whole bunch of solid pieces, and I want to use solid tools then to trim it. Save. Vendril saved me with the save. I want to use solid tools to go back and cut some pieces. Like we saw before, one of the issues that can come with solid tools, if you're cutting up against 2 overlapping pieces, is by cutting that piece, you end up with a piece on either side of the other one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create basically a 3D mask that says this is where pieces don't go. So I can trim a whole bunch of stuff at once. You'll see what I'm talking about in just 1 second. All right, so I'm going to just draw the shape of, this is what the deck looks like. It's inside of these edge boards, all the way around. This side will go up to the house, come all the way back to here, and then to here. All right, so that, right now I can turn off my 8-foot decking. This shape is where, I'm gonna come out here to work. As you set up your model, you may be more, have more control over when you have visibility, turn stuff on and off, that kind of thing. I didn't do that very much. Well, I did, but I didn't put the railings together, so I'm just gonna kind of hop off to the side to do this this editing or this creation. All right, so I'm gonna make this into a group for right now, and I'm going to make a single board. Right here, I'm gonna run well long of what I need to do here. All right, I'm gonna grab that and slide it up. Actually, that needs to go way up. All right, and I'll pull that up 1.5, and I will make that into, actually I'm gonna make this one a group, not a component, because I don't want it to compete. I don't want it to repeat. Everything I do here right now is going to actually be its own separate piece because everyone's going to have a different cut length. Fortunately, it is pretty easy to come back afterwards and say make component. So I'm going to make it a group to have that geometry in there. If I want to come back as I'm designing here, I can actually come back and make them components again after they've been cut. But what I don't want to do is make them a component because the first one I cut, then they're all going to get cut. Or I have to put them all in place and then one at a time, right click, make unique, make unique, make unique. So I'm going to make them just groups right now. I'm going to mark the center because I got to make sure my board needs to run, this board needs to run past here on this side and past here on this side. All right, so now I'm going to take this one and move it this way 5.75 inches. That gives me my 1/4 inch gap again. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over because right now what's going to end up happening, whoops, I don't know what I just did. What's going to start, if I offset this direction, of course, my end's going to come in here. So what I actually want to do is slide this one, hold up, down to, whoops. There we go. So I want to put this board right here. I drew some stuff. I don't know what happened there. All right, that's not important. This is what's important. All right, so that's where it is. So I spent a little extra time doing that first move, but what that means is right now I can take this one right here and I can say move it from the end of this one, modifier key, to the end of this one. And now I can say X 20. Well, that's pretty close to perfect.
Dang.
Hope perfect works. All right, that looks pretty cool. So now I can get rid of those extra lines because I don't want to copy them. And I'll take these ones, minus this space, slide it over here, flip along.
Flip along, flip along.
Because, yeah, because, duh, what else would you do, of course? So, okay. Oh, I could have screwed that up so easily. All right, and let's see, let's. All right, that is what we're shooting for. What I'm wondering is, can I grab all of these? I don't actually want that selected. I'm trying to figure out the easiest way to line this up so I don't have to go cut the ends because this is what I actually want. So if I slide this back along the green axes, get underneath this thing. I slide that along the green axis till it hits here, and then I slide it to the middle. Wow, just off. So what I have to do is then grab this piece right here, slide it back up to there. There we go. All right, so now I need to fill in my gaps. So it looks like I need one more board right here. So I can grab this guy, and I'm gonna use my existing ones. Option, move that down to that's not right. Oh, my gap. I'll try again. All right, that'll work. And then same thing over here. I'm gonna need to grab a handful of these and move them from here, option, to here. All right, so far, those two are extra. There we go. So now I have set up enough solid pieces covering the 2D shape that I need. So now is the fun part. So now I'm gonna grab this shape, oh, there's a handle, into this group, and I'm gonna offset this shape out so it's big enough to cover all those pieces, and I'm going to push pull it up and push pull it down, and then get rid of my inside volume. I don't need those extra lines then either. So what I just did, like I said, is basically made a 3D mask. So what I could do now is with this, make sure it's solid group. I could grab this, and I'm gonna do this backwards. I always stumble on this the first time I do it, but I want to come in and I want to, I think, trim. Yes, trim. Let's turn on X-ray so you can see exactly what's happening. As I trim each of these, they're just getting cut back to that 3D mask.
Oh yeah. Satisfying.
ASMR. Click. So just cut each of these back. We gotta go both directions here. Look at this is exactly what I was talking about. Is if I had just had my end board here and I used the cut, it would have created three sections. I'd have a section on this side of the board, this section in the middle, this section on the outside. So it means I'd have to go into that group then, triple click geometry, delete, triple click geometry and delete. Because I create a bigger volume on the outside, it laps into it completely, so I can just click to get rid of it. And I realize this is straight up throwaway geometry, but hey, it makes it pretty easy to go through and do that. All right, when I'm done there, now I can actually just select this piece, delete it, and now I just have this decking. Well, before I put it in place, let's turn our 8-foot decking back on and delete our boards, because that's the old stuff. We got new hotness to move in place. All right, grab that. I'm gonna grab it by a corner I know I can place by. I'm gonna grab by this top corner right here, fly on in here, and stick it, X-ray, right there. Ooh.
Looking good.
See, this is aesthetically pleasing. Look how I carry that down into the stairs. Yeah, that's nice. Awesome.
So let's catch up on some
Let's talk.
comments real quick. You never added cost to your handrails. I don't know
You're
if
right.
you're going to do a generating report at the very end, but those will not
right.
show up.
I did create these as components, so I could actually come in here and say my baluster costs, I don't know. I'd have to go through and figure out what this costs on the length. I honestly kind of gave up on I didn't give up, I ignored. I ignored it in order to get everything modeled. But it can that's the nice thing about components, is they're always editable. So you can always come back and add that information afterwards. So I could actually figure out, so what was this? What was this length? This length was This is 2 foot 6.5 inches. So say I was willing to cut it to 2 foot 6 even. So maybe I took this and I moved it up 0.5. So if I had a 10 foot 2x2, I could get 4 of those out of there. So I could figure out what the price of a 10 foot material would be and divide it by 4 and put it in for each of these. I could work backwards into putting a pricing on there pretty easily. And this does show that one of the reasons you may want to look into something like Estimator or something like that, especially if you're going to be constantly changing and redoing that final design. Because that would make it easier to have a running price when you're making drastic design changes like I just did.
Is there no official polygon limit to SketchUp environments, or do you frequently use game engines to offset this? There's no official polygon limit, but if you get, a billion polygons, your model's going to move very slowly.
Right. So if you do come in here to Windows Model Info, here's where you can see the edges and faces. There's not a number that says, it caps out. You can stop drawing geometry at blank number of faces. It really depends on your machine is how much it's going to be. There's obviously an upper limit where you start to get too much. As far as game engines and that kind of stuff, those take the models and render them later on, and that's all on them. SketchUp's really just about creating geometry. So that said, there is definitely workflows that help your model be more efficient and more snappy as you get to bigger and bigger models.
Mm-hmm.
So that is doing things like putting things on layers, using groups and components, scenes, just setting visibility so you're only working with what you need to. Mm-hmm. So this house right here, if I unlock and go in here and we'll select everything, this counts for 5,675 entities. So there are surfaces and faces, just over 5,500 of them. If I was to take it and if I didn't need it, I could hide it, and now SketchUp has to draw 5,500 less things every time I animate. Because this is where SketchUp ends up getting slowed down, is this. So I'm animating. Every time I animate, it has to figure out what to show on the screen, what not to show on the screen, what's in front of what, that sort of thing. So the more pieces you get on the screen, then the longer it takes to redraw. And that's where that lag ends up coming from. So when we talk about having a snappy model versus a not snappy model, it comes down to those sorts of things.
Nice. Love these and the skill builders, but absolutely hate the new thumbnails you guys came up with. The one with the burgundy.
We will pass that along.
How do you use groups for tile and grout?
So what I would recommend is one of two things. And this is going to be a crude example, but I will draw a square right here and then offset it the grout amount. And I'm going to make, like I said, I'm just making this is going to be super simple, but you'll see what I'm talking about. So let's say this is my gray tile and this is my white grout. If I make that into a group or component and I offset it, this can be modeled one of two ways. One way is like this, so that I put the cut in the middle of the grout line. This is a fat grout line, but you get the idea. And what I can do then is I can come in and option shift erase these lines. So if I shift erase these, when you're done, you have these components that meet at the edge, but you don't see it because those lines are erased. The other way to do it is to do it like this. Oop. Hold on, I gotta think about something. Is that right? Let's see. Nope, that's not right. Let me make this a group, or make a component. There we go. So I just put it on two sides, and then when I copy it, and then copy it, I end up with the same grout, but I only have to do it. And then same thing, if I come in here and I shift erase these 2 outside lines, actually 4 outside lines, then I end up with looks like a seamless texture, but is actually a series of components. So that's how I would go about that. I'm only, just so you know, Matt, I only see YouTube comments anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's weird. Don't worry about fixing it if you can tell me what the other things say. I did have a question asking about how SketchUp does with mechanical design. Yes, I would say architecture and woodworking are the big places where SketchUp has presence. SketchUp was originally designed for creating architectural models, so a lot of the tools are based around things that are architectural sized. Having said that, we do have people who use it for mechanical design and that sort of thing. There are certain limitations. SketchUp doesn't naturally deal with true curves. It does segmented curves. That's just how it does the curves. But having said that, those segmented curves can be exported as true curves through DXF files. So it really depends on the workflow you have as to how well that works.
And then a couple questions about Outliner.
Yeah.
When do you use it, and what is it useful for? I guess?
Yeah, so Outliner is something I use a lot. The nice thing about Outliner is, and I started off real careful when we did the first half of this model, real careful naming everything, putting in prices. So you can see, here's the part of the Outliner where, oh, look at that, oh, it's beautiful. And then I went, now let's just make some stuff. And then now I have all of this kind of thing where I have these differences, and here's a group. Well, that was my stairs. The nice place where, so if I carried this through and started to just go further and further, where I started, or I put in hardware, I put in, if I put it in bolts or something like that they want to account for, I would start grouping a lot more. Everything ended up kind of loose out here. I didn't really group stuff together. I used layers a little bit to control my visibility, but I would probably start grouping stuff together. I would group all of my structural elements. Me personally, not saying this is the way you have to do it, I would probably end up grouping all my structural elements together, making that a group. My decking would go into a group, my railings would go into a group, and I would have those separate pieces just to control them. Outliner is great because as I want to go into those different groups, I can actually just find the group, click on it. So if I double click it, it'll select it, and I can actually go directly to an item. So if I want to pick this tread, I can double click and I'm editing that tread right now. So the Outliner is awesome. I use it all the time, especially when I get deeper into a model. These even though they tend to be 3-hour sessions where we model, it's still not as lengthy as doing an entire house where it's a multiple days or a week of a model or something like that. So I tend to maybe not go as much organization as I would if it was my own model. But yeah, Outliner's key to staying organized. Outliner is a boss, Spursman Matt says. Spursman Matt. Oh yeah, and then Caden was saying, sorry to jump on that, but cabinetry and doors is a big spot where you use Outliner too. And he was asking, what can I do to make changes in size without changing border size, height, depth, etc. What you would end up doing in that case is making the different pieces their own components. So rather than resizing, so for example right here, if I was to take these 4 pieces and make them into a group, if I wanted to resize this, if I just use that, it's going to distort everything. That doesn't work. So what you'd end up wanting to actually do is come in here and make changes to those individual pieces rather than trying to resize containers. Containers are something you just have to think about. When you go to pick on something to resize it, what are you resizing? Very rarely do you want to, the intention be to resize a container. What you want to do is resize the geometry that's on the inside. So that's most times people have that. The other thing to look into is dynamic components, because dynamic components are how I've made doors before, how a lot of the cabinets that I've seen used are created, because then you can actually put the size on the container and tell the dynamic component to jump in size and manually go, or automatically go resize the pieces. What should I make in SketchUp? What do you want to make in SketchUp?
Bradley Bowling says bacon, piece of bacon.
Go for it. Yes. I would recommend a organic modeling tool like Artisan or Sub D, but go for it. You make low poly bacon. Eating it would be a challenge. All right. Well,
cool.
At this point, we're pretty close to wrapping up. As last comments come in, I do want to point out that we won't be here next weekend, or next Friday. We're talking about the road shows going on. I will actually be there. So I'll be in Boston at the University of Massachusetts Amherst next week. So I'll be there teaching an intro to SketchUp class. Should be a lot of fun. I'm gonna make some 20 new friends, hang out with them for a couple days, and then maybe they'll join us the week after. We'll see. So we'll be back regularly scheduled program the week after next. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. The other thing, just have to point it out, our good buddy Matt is leaving us. So
that's true.
Everybody tell Matt how much you like him. He's moving, which it's understandable. He's moving to be closer to family, so he's heading back to Michigan.
Yeah.
The first person ever who's moved to Colorado and then went back to Michigan.
That's true. Yeah, a lot of Michiganders here, not too many Coloradans over there, but
it just doesn't go that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna wish him the best of luck, and I just don't know what's gonna happen. We'll see. If we come back in 2 weeks and there's just static or there's like blood on the green screen, it's because Matt left and we couldn't take it. So
maybe I'll join in on the comments and
there you go.
Give you a couple hints on getting the cameras in focus or something.
Perfect. Yeah. So yeah. So say thanks to Matt, guys, because honestly, when we started doing this, I don't think we would have done it if we didn't have Matt, because I still don't fully understand what he does. So, which is bad because I'm supposed to know it by now, but I don't.
No,
so.
you did the ship without me. You can continue sailing forward without me. Yeah, I mean, we certainly like doing these kind of streams, and we wouldn't do it without you guys. So, yeah, it'll hopefully continue on. It'll be my legacy. You know what I mean? You guys, as long as you guys keep showing up on Fridays, then I'll be happy. You'll be happy. We'll all be.
Yeah, Matt will just be on the other side of the screen.
I'll be in the comments with you guys.
Harassing
Joining
comments.
the ranks of the commenters.
Keep an eye out for a username. I'm totally not Matt.
Yeah, I'll be in disguise, big glasses, and a fake nose. Thanks, everybody. Thanks. Appreciate all your comments and love, certainly.
Yeah, that's a lot of great feedback. How to model a crime scene in SketchUp. That's a good... Ooh, that could be fun.
Yeah. Speaking of the blood splatter on the green screen.
What computer you recommend for modeling rendering? The demands of SketchUp are really pretty light. The biggest issue that people have with SketchUp is making sure that you have a video card that supports OpenGL 3. 3 is important. OpenGL 2 is the old graphics language, so make sure that is the case. As far as anything else, processor, that's going to be more controlled by your rendering software. So what SketchUp needs as far as like RAM or CPU or anything like that's pretty limited compared to what would be advised for rendering. So if you're using a specific renderer, I would pick a machine out based on that requirement rather than what SketchUp would like. Awesome. Well, thank you all very, very, very much, as always. This is great. We love doing this, and we're going to keep doing it as long as you guys keep showing up and giving us ideas. And we will be doing something, not next weekend, but the weekend after. So hopefully you guys enjoy the week off, and we will get back to this in June. So one last thank you to Matt. Everybody say bye, Matt, and we will talk to you guys later.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good weekend, guys.
Thanks.